Hello. I'm live, or I am according to YouTube, but I don't believe them. I believe you. So if you can hear me, let me know. Oh, so many people in here. Hello, Jonathan. Good grief, Jonathan, you were first. Congratulations. And we have Kim. Hello, Kim. Hello, Debbie. Can he stay awake for the whole episode? Well, if he did, Debbie, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. I said he's not out yet. He's not out for the count yet. But if he did, it would be amazing. Because it would be the first time since January the 1st. So, game on, Jonathan. Game on. Right, who else have we got? Hello, Deb. That's a full complement of Debs these days, isn't it?
Even Deborah's in.
Oh, Deborah's in.
She's come to
I've
say
got that
hello
far.
before work.
Hello, Deborah. Not the same without you. Oh, we have all the Debs. Excellent. Hello, Carol. I have made progress on your email, and I can do that for you. So I will sort that out. Hello, Renee. Jonathan's had a little nap. Oh, Jonathan. Hello, Peter. Hello, Mark. And who else have we got? I think we're all there. Hello, Stephen. Fantastic. I think I've got everybody. I think I have. If not, let me know. And if you're just quietly listening, pop in and say hello. Why not? Right, well, I sort myself out with what needs to be where, because I'm not really firing on all cylinders today, am I, Mike? I've been poorly.
Yeah.
Been poorly today, so be gentle with me. Right, okay. I'll press the magic button there, if I can remember what the magic button is. It's pondering. Yeah, can you ponder faster? Oh, you can. That's jolly good. Right, okay. So I'm going to head over here, and you're not going to be able to tell the difference, she said. And that's because in that case there was no difference. Oh, what is going on here? You'll tell the difference at this rate. Right. I think we are good to go. Fingers crossed. Right, now I can't see the chat. Oh, never mind. Never mind. It's a week at MacBites headquarters. So let me get the chat up, see if I can see it. Are you going to tell me I'm going live and then just work? No, you're not. Okay, be like that. YouTube app in a mood with me. That's all right. We'll beat it into submission with a stick, and then we can get going. Search for myself. You're live. Amazing. Right, now I can see the chat as well. Might need some glasses, but I can see the chat.
Dickon's in.
Hello, Dickon.
Long time no see.
Hello, Dickon. I've got an email from Dickon as well, all about Kit. Oh. So I'll get back to you with over that regarding that the weekend, Dickon. Lots to see. Oh, Carol's happy. You're very welcome, Carol. I had great fun with it, actually. It's one of those things that's like, well, this'll be easy, won't it? No, it won't. But it is when you've got it sorted. So, yeah, we'll do that. Right, okay then. What have we got happening this week? Right. We've got the Vivaldi 3.8 update. Something alarming happened with that. In a good way. Then we've got Workspaces, which follows on from the app that we looked at last week, which was Side Notes, which we all absolutely adored. Then we've got part 3 of Canva, and then Mike has got Excel infographics, and the burning question with that is, go on, what is it, Mike?
Will there be unicorns?
Will there be unicorns? And then we're looking at mastering the macOS Finder part 3. Oh, had fun with this week, didn't we, Mike? Some of it when we'd finished was, well, there's an hour I'm never going to get back. But we have again beaten it into submission. Right, don't forget we broadcast in 1080p. Who has got the lowest resolution that YouTube has foisted upon them today? I've been all right this week. It's been not bad at all. Oh, Deborah uses Workspaces. Well, good news with all of that is it's on setup. So it could be free for everyone. Right, so we're broadcasting at 1080p. Do put in what YouTube has got you watching at. And while you're there, cog, lower right-hand side of your video, give the video a thumbs up. Really makes a difference with YouTube. So, this is going to be so exciting. I'm glad I can see the chat for this bit. I just wish I could make the chat bigger. Need a bigger iPad. Oh, there's a segue. Right, so going back to last Saturday. In fact, we need to go further back than that. We're flashing back to the 30th of April, which was Friday, if you recall, a week ago today. And you'll remember, not bad words were said, no, lots of money was spent. You'll remember the iPad order, the one that said you're all set. Yeah, that. Somebody got far more excited than is good for a lady of my age when that arrived. On Friday, April the 30th, saying, here's your shipment and tracking information. Be with you tomorrow. I wish. If you're wondering, it was a pencil. Darn it. But it did work out quite nicely because DPD. And you know what DPD are like. Oh, they're just fabulous. It'll be with you tomorrow. You've picked your chosen place. We won't ask you for a signature or anything. We'll just drop it off and we'll take a picture. It'll be fine. And they were as good as their word. It was. You'll notice the door is slightly ajar. That's because Mike was on the other side of it, poised to collect my pencil. And yes, my pencil has arrived. iPad? Sometime this side Christmas. But, fingers crossed. While all that was going on, we had 8 music shows that were playing on Brooklands 196. Oh, we had a ball. And at 7 o'clock, we were then marooned at MacBites headquarters. But 8 o'clock's always fabulous because everything happens at 8 o'clock. And this week was no different. What we do is we always have a theme. We've taken to having a theme. And some themes more obvious than others. But it was Brooklands and we did have a theme. In honour of, and it looks like it's gardening, doesn't it? But it was actually in honour of Naked Gardening Day. I didn't know there was such a thing either. There is a website, but don't go there. There's photographs. It's not nice. Don't go. But we had a ball. We had an absolute ball. Which took us to Sunday. Oh, we are busy people, Sunday, we did deep diving data merge in Affinity Publisher. Yes, it was 2-show Sunday. What was even more comical was, while I was holding the fort, Mike was being my TA, my technical assistant. While I was busy deep diving data merge in Affinity Publisher, Mike was poised to watch his beloved team. One of the biggest matches of the season. It was United at home to Liverpool. Or it should have been. And all of what I'm about to show you happened while I was delivering that training. So I had no idea until we were done. But some fans had decided that they were going to protest. It started out as a peaceful protest, but it soon turned nasty, with 10,000 angry supporters without a match that they can't attend and a grudge against the club's owners. It's a recipe for trouble, and so it proved. So as I say, it kicked off. This social distancing, you can only be with 6 people. Yeah, forget that. They actually broke into the stadium, although that's alleged that they broke into the stadium. But obviously, fans aren't allowed in the stadiums at the moment. But plenty of them got in. Their beef is with the owners. And the owners are an American family who don't seem to understand the heart and soul of football in the UK, but do understand the money aspect of it. But it did get very, very nasty. So the game was actually called off. So you didn't have to deploy any kind of trick, did you, Mike?
No.
None at all. Luckily, all of that had calmed down. I think Mike had gone to bed when I headed to book club. As you know by now, I am in the middle of how to take smart notes. But this week, huge dilemma. Book club, obviously you need to do it live. You need to be there live and talk and things. But it was the Line of Duty finale. What to do? Which one won out? Let me know in the chat and I'll tell you down the line. Remind me, Mike. Put it in the chat. Which one did I do live and which one did I not do live? Because, of course, I could always watch that on catch-up, couldn't I? But which one did I put on catch-up? Oh, which took us to Monday. Now it's a bank holiday. Bank holiday in the UK, so you know what that meant. Oh, holiday. Yeah, no. It's a bank holiday in the UK. It rained all day, and I mean it was evil all day. But as they say, no such thing as bad weather, just a bad choice of clothes. And seeing as though I wasn't going out anyway, no harm done. Although we did need to put the lights on in the house, it was that dark. As was proved on Tuesday when we were just about to go live with Marooned at MacBites headquarters, and I said to Mike, nip out and take a photo, because those clouds look rather ominous. And they do, don't they? It wasn't good. And just as Mike came in with that photo, Jonathan, who lives about 8 to 10 miles away, but further north than us, warned us that worse was on the way. And you know what? He was spot on. Thunderous hailstorm only minutes after Mike returned from taking that photo. So yeah, we're all back inside again. Now, Wednesday, things had improved. You know, now we're all back at work and we're not trying to sun ourselves in the garden. Yeah. Slightly better, but still pretty bleak at certain points, isn't it? And didn't I do well with that photo, Mike? Because the photo that Mike actually gave me was... shall we do a demo on how to straighten a photo?
No.
It was virtually at 45 degrees, bless him. But Wednesday was a particularly busy day for me because I started building a second brain again. It should have been a 5 o'clock kickoff. They alternate each cohort of this course to be the best time for Europe or the best time for America. And the last time, it was the best time for America, which turned out quite nicely for me because I was up all night anyway. It makes no difference to me. This one was supposed to be supporting the UK and Europe. Yeah. So it was supposed to be 5 o'clock, turned into midnight, got moved. So never mind. I managed to cope, which meant I was a bit late up on Thursday. But obviously there was important things afoot on Thursday, particularly for Lola. It was dogs at polling stations. Now, we've got a postal vote. We've never done a postal vote before. That itself turned into a complete fiasco. We didn't realise that you needed 3 pages of instructions, did we? Yeah. But never mind. We sorted it all out eventually. But it did take 2 of us in about an hour. But Lola had to go to the polling station anyway. The little sign on the floor says there's a one-way system in place. Lola took one look and decided, you know what, polling? Yeah, whatever. And decided to walk off. She wasn't interested. Oh, she's a good dog. She's a good dog. And on Thursday, yes, United were playing again. They do like to play with Mike's mind. This time they lost 3-2, but don't panic. Does this happen abroad in things? I mean, obviously in Europe it does, but Kim, let me know with your sports. Even though they lost, if you look at the small print, they won. It's clever that, isn't it? So, yeah, they went 1 down, didn't they? Or did they go 1 up?
Went 1 down, I think.
No, they went 1 up, Mike. It was 1 up, that's right. They went 1 up. Then it was 1-1, then it was 2-1, then bad words were said. But anyway, it ended all right. 8-5 on aggregate. But, you know, it was nice, wasn't it, when it was 6-2. But anyway, they got through. So now Mike's got more matches. Thursday night was also the second outing for book club that week because, still on that book, but we've got a reading room going on. This one was a farce. We started at 9:30 in the evening and we finished at 1:50. And you know, I think we read about 4 paragraphs and the rest of it was chit chat. You all saw the behind the scenes thing last time. So that was what we were doing. Which took us to Friday, which is today, and it's a special day for us. You may remember a couple of months back we mentioned that it would have been Maya's 20th birthday. Can't believe it's 20 years. But yeah, he arrived here today, 20 years ago. It's his gotcha day today. And we all remember it, irrespective of the fact we lost him 7 years ago now. But he changed our lives forever. So this was the day he arrived. And you know, if we'd have had the shopping thing that we have now where they come to you, oh, he'd have had a ball. Because Tesco arrived and Lola was ready and even better, it was Wendy. I think Wendy's put the mark on here now. That, you know, oh, if we're going there, because she calls Lola Sweet Pea. How sweet pea. Lola's less than thrilled about being called Sweet Pea, but never mind. And, of course, it's Two-Show Friday. So, let's get on with it. Right, Vivaldi. There has been an update to Vivaldi. If you are one of the uninitiated who have yet to discover the sheer bliss of the browser that is Vivaldi, it's unbelievable. Right, before I start this, what was the decision on which one I binned and which one I time shifted? Poor Mike, he's not been taking count, has he?
Nobody said anything.
I'm sure they did, I'm sure they did. Let me catch up. Let's scroll back. No, I don't know.
People are saying no spoilers.
Oh, no spoilers. There'll never be any spoilers here. No spoilers. No spoilers. I wanted spoilers so desperately not that I time shifted book club and no one noticed. I watched Line of Duty live. Had to be done. So, Vivaldi, right. Oh, Kim thinks Line of Duty. It had to be Line of Duty, didn't it? Right, Vivaldi. I've been using it for quite a while, but when I started using it, it was good in terms of features, but it had a bit of a problem. I felt it was a bit sluggish and the interface wasn't all it could have been. Well, every update has made it better and better and better, and the features it's got in it, totally amazing. We've already had a request for a full deep dive on Vivaldi, which we will do. But what we're going to concentrate today is on this update and a few things like bookmarking and stuff. The first thing they've done, yes, the first unicorn of the night, is they've added the ability to, well, they've said the cookie cutter. And what they mean is, I'm sure you've all visited sites where you get these requests to allow cookies and do this and that and the other. They have given you more control over that. So you've got all these settings in the privacies where you can say, don't show me cookie warnings for particular sites. So if it's your site where you've got your own cookie warning and you don't want to see them, you can add them and then put a tick in the box and you will not see that. So just a nice touch, that I think. Now it gets a lot deeper with that, but it's a few seconds of time when something is over the screen that you have to click, that with this new setting you don't. So you need to set that up in the ad blocker sources. But I think that's a really useful thing. The other thing that they did, and this caused me another lost hour of productivity, was they've changed and updated the look of the panels. So the panels are by default on the left-hand side. But if you've seen my Vivaldi, they're on the right. But it says they've completely redesigned them. And there are now slick icons, which indeed I can confirm there are. And there's no borders on them. And the reason that's important is you can float them over the top of a website now rather than shrink the website down into the other half of the app. I will show you that. To look at, you might think, no, there's not that much difference, but it's in the feel of it. It is in the feel of it, and it's working much better for me as far as I'm concerned. So I will show you my setup and show you my take on that. I think the biggest thing is the flock. The flock problem. Who has heard of flock? F-L-O-C. Google flock. Yeah, people not happy. It is causing concern for other browsers. Obviously, Google and Chrome are quite happy with it. But flock is Google's new data harvesting. And the general consensus is this is nasty. It's called flock, F-L-O-C, the O being lowercase, and it stands for the Federated Learning of Cohorts. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? The Federated Learning of Cohorts. It's an advertising technology, and the idea is eventually it will replace third-party cookies and any other related technologies like third-party local storage. Now, the reason it's caused such a stink is, well, one, Google are behind it, so everything that Google do calls a stink. But the reason is, it's to enable tracking, but not individually. So in the name Federated Learning of Cohorts, they will allocate you a cohort of people that are like you. So in Mike's case, he would have visited the Manchester United site. So he isn't going to get put in a cohort with people who have visited the Liverpool site, unless it makes sense that somebody's looking, the advertisers are looking for people who are interested in football. And then he would be put in that cohort. Not identified personally, but become part of a cohort. Now, the problem with this is the ramifications down the line. So, the one that's tracking with this flock, right, the one that's tracking it, you would imagine at the moment, if you think about how cookies work, cookies track you from a single site, unless it is a global cookie, in which case it can track you across sites, but only using sites that are querying the cookies. But this flock thing tracks you everywhere, even sites that don't have third-party cookies or any cookies or are any part of flock, because it's Google and it can track you. So you may go to 5 sites that you're not bothered about. The BBC News site, the sports site, the Manchester United site, a forum about United and something else about United. And that is part of the flock system, and they put you in a cohort based on the fact you like football, you particularly like Manchester United and so forth. They've got a profile of you. But it's, at the moment, anonymous, or so they say. But obviously they can reverse engineer this and find you. Where it gets nasty, which is why Vivaldi are standing up against it, is it can track you on sites that have no cookies on it at all. So imagine that you went to a medical site and you looked up a medical condition. You could be looking it up for a neighbour, but that's going to be allocated to you, and then they're going to make an assumption based on what they think they now know about you. So a lot of the other browsers have said, no, we are not going to support flock technology in the browser. Google Chrome is already doing it. So Google Chrome and anything else coming out of Google is already doing it. With the exception of in Europe, because we have GDPR. But if you're in the States or any other country outside Europe, I don't know our GDPR status now we've Brexited, but either way, if it's done geographically, which it seems to be, you're covered with the GDPR, then you won't be tracked. But, there's nothing to say that they won't do that in the future. So what Vivaldi have said is, no, we're not supporting it. We are not enabling that within the browser. So that's why it's so important. Kim, that sums it up nicely. Flock scares me to death. Is YouTube a Google company? Yes, it is. I have been watching videos in Chrome, but the big reveal of this version of Vivaldi is I've also used Firefox, and Firefox has been my default browser for about 3 or 4 years. I've switched to Vivaldi. Not anything to do with the flock thing, because Firefox also will not support the flock. But the reason that I've switched, I will show you when I actually show you the browser. I also mentioned last time that there was this lovely thing where you can Command an E and it will give you commands in your browser. You can search your open tabs, you can search the bookmarks. Amazing. So it's Alfred in your browser basically. But they've now allowed you to toggle elements off. So for instance, you can toggle the mouse gestures on or off using the same thing. So to me, that's a bit of a nicety, but at least you don't have to go through the menus for it. Vivaldi's all about privacy and all about functionality. Many people just use a browser and they're not interested if they can take a screenshot or put 2 pages side by side. But if you are, this is amazing. So I think they've now reached critical mass. I've switched. It's now my default. They also give you a lot more privacy options than just the no flock thing. But the flock thing you probably do need to seriously think about down the line. And you've got your extensions there, your Google extensions, but now you're going to have to be careful whether they work or not in terms of whether it affects the flock command or not. At the moment, it's just not there, so you should be all right. But who knows with Google? Anyway, let's go and have a look at it. Right, I have, are you Vivaldi? Yes, I think you are, aren't you? So this is going to get a bit meta, because I've got YouTube open in a window, and it's also huge on the other monitor. So let me just get rid of the Google tab that I've got, get that out in a tab of its own. Yeah, it's not having it. It doesn't want to be in a tab of its own. Oh, come on, you do. You know you do. Get over there. Will you do it over there? You will. That's better. Right. So what I'll do here is get onto the What's New page and get that onto the screen. That would be a good start, wouldn't it? Right. Obviously, my Vivaldi is very personal to me. For a start, I have it in dark mode. I also have the tabs not across the top, they're down the side, on the left-hand side. That was originally there because I use this as my Notion host. So all the tabs that you see over here, these are all the tabs that I have open all of the time. So they're my pinned tabs. And then any other tabs that I would open would be opened from those tabs. And they would open below the fold there, below that line. So I've got two things open, right? And I wondered if I would be able to use this as a default browser in that way of working there. Because when it was just hosting Notion, it was simple. The only time a page was opened below the line was when I deliberately opened it from within Notion. So I pondered it and I thought, well, do you know, actually it's not bad. It is workable, but sometimes I just want it to be full screen. Well, there's always an option in Vivaldi, trust me. Always a keyboard shortcut to do whatever you want to do, simply. So I'll talk you through how that works, but just the fact that I was able to close the tabs entirely totally changed the game. So Vivaldi is now my default browser. Prove that point up there. We have the Vivaldi icon there, which is how I know which my default browser is. So I've got this open on the What's New thing. So this link, which I think Mike has got, is where you're told what the new stuff is. And you can read longer articles about them as well, including a little video about Flock, but don't bother. It was 34 seconds and there was no audio. So really, seriously. But the other big features, like I've said, is that the bookmarks have totally changed how they work, which could be confusing. So I will talk you through that. And then we've got the quick commands, as I said. But for the quick commands to make any sense, how many of you in any other browser have used gestures? A gesture being a squiggle or a shape that you make with your mouse. So if I wanted, let's open up a new page here. And where shall we go to? Let's go to my blog. It's easier. Right. If I want to go back, so let's say in here I go into the Affinity Photo one, and then I go into the presentations. Mike's sneezing again, isn't he? Your mic's on so we can hear you, right? And then we'll go to About Me. Now let's say I want to navigate backwards. Well, obviously you've got your forward and back buttons at the top. You could do that. You've also got shortcut keys to do that with. So you can very easily do that. I'm navigating incorrectly there. So I'm moving backwards and forwards with the command square bracket. But there is another way to do it, because you've probably got your hand on your mouse anyway as you're browsing. Now, Deborah says, tried gestures, couldn't make them part of a workflow. I did 20 years ago in Opera on Windows. And then when I moved to the Mac, Opera didn't work great on a Mac. But I enabled them in Vivaldi and thought, you know, if you can't remember to use them, fine. But if you can, great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold the right mouse button and scoot back to the left. That navigates me backwards. And same thing going from left to right navigates me forwards. You get used to that really quick. You can even close a page if you want. So if I do that, which was an L shape, it will close it. So we'll open it up again. That was Command Shift and T. So I'm drawing a shape, right mouse button held down, L shape, and it will close it. So you can make the most amazing, complicated gestures. And if it doesn't work for you, fine, turn them off. But if it does, game changer. So one of the things, as we discussed, was that the Command and E that we had in there, you can toggle features on and off. So you can see the commands where you've got the panel toggle. You can toggle the mouse gestures, toggle the reader view, toggle the floating panels. So if you can't remember the shortcut key, you've got this inbuilt Alfred command line to put in whatever you want, and then that will actually do that. So if I take that down to toggle mouse gestures, and now I do the L, so right mouse button click down, nothing. It just opens that up when I let go of the right mouse click. But I can enable it back again without going through all of the preferences because it is a toggle. There's the mouse gestures, and let's do that again, and now it's closed. So mouse gestures useful. I will show you the mouse gestures, but I'm just taking you through what I have on the interface and what I don't. And I keep mine very plain. I do not like to see 3,000 extensions, although I've got extensions there. One of the new things that you can do is actually activate an extension without actually going to it. So the only extension that I have showing up here is the copy URLs tab info, which lets me copy in markdown format with a bullet or ordered list or any other format the active tab, all the tabs in the current window, or all the tabs in all the windows. All the colours in all the sizes. That's the only one that I want to see. But under here, I do have a lot of others. Some of them work perfectly well as they are with a shortcut key. So if I wanted to remind myself here that I need to read more about Flock, then what I can do is I have a shortcut key set up, and it's done it on the opposite screen, but there we go, that will send it to things. So I have the title of the page, I have the link of the page, and then I can put in there, let's say, research this some more. There we go. And save it, and that will head off to things, and I've captured it. And I didn't need to go into here and go and find this button. That's done on a shortcut key. But some of them don't have shortcut keys, or you might not be a shortcut key person. Which you're helped now by Command and E. This Command and E, you only need to remember the one shortcut key. But what if I wanted to add this to things? And there's my extension. And when I do that, I put it on the wrong screen again, but there it is, which is fabulous. So for instance, if I'm in Vivaldi and I want to send it to Notion, and again, I can't remember the shortcut key and I don't want to go and find it on the menu, all I need to do in there is go to Notion. Now the thing with Notion is when I put the word Notion in, it looks like it's not done it. It's saying you can search on Bing and you can create a note called Notion. The note it's talking about is creating a note inside Vivaldi. Vivaldi has its own note system. But then you've got all of these pages, but that's because these are the pages open at the top left, and they are all from Notion. So I do need to get past those. But when I get past those, I get down here and I've got the standard Notion web clipper, or I've got the Save to Notion web clipper, two different things. I've even got another extension installed that will enable me to make a global block out of something. So I can get all the way down. I've also got bookmarks in folders, and I've got Notion resources and Notion office hours and all kinds of stuff. And I've got bookmarks created for some Notion pages as well. So I've got all of that information in there. All I need to do is just make sure that it's the clipper, which I could put clipper in it and then it's straight down to it. So I just start typing whatever extension it is and I can access it from this quick commands, which I just think is so powerful. Right, so we've sorted that out. The only other things that I have showing by default are what you see here, which is I've got this cloud option, which is my synced tabs, and I've got the closed tab. So when I close something, like I just have, all my closed tabs appear in there. If I don't, if that is the only way that you can get back to them. Obviously, there's Command-Shift-T. That will open it up again. But if it was 5 tabs ago or 3 hours ago, you can go in there and you will see all of your closed tabs. And then up here, I have the reader view. I have the make me a QR code, and I have the bookmarks, and those are the only things that I have up there. I do have a shortcut to bring up the status bar at the bottom. You may have that showing all the time. I choose not to. Need the space. I just like minimal me. But then I do know all of the shortcut keys to quickly get them back. And in here, this is where you can take a screenshot either of a part of the page or the entire page, and then you can save it in the format of your choice, copy it to the clipboard, or you can send it to the Vivaldi notes. So absolutely fantastic feature. The next one is the ability to tile pages, which again, just fabulous. So let's say I want to work with this page and this page at the same time. I want to do a comparison between them. Then I select the tabs, and then I can just open them up in here, and I'm looking at them side by side, which again, just a huge, huge time saver. Love that feature. So let's untile those. The next one that I've got here, I can toggle the images in animation. So if you don't want to see the images, if you're on low bandwidth, you can toggle that off. You've got a view zoom option here, which is also available on a shortcut key. So you can see that that is increasing by 10% each time. But I'm using a shortcut key and not the slider. The shortcut key is Command and plus next to your backspace key, or Command and minus for that. But if you are the type of person who has that bar showing at the bottom, you can just use the slider. And the other thing that's down there is a clock. And you might think, why have you got a clock there? But if I take this full screen, it's actually quite useful to have that there. Also, if I click on it, I can change it from being a clock to a countdown timer. I can set an alarm. I can use it as a Pomodoro timer. I can create Pomodoros and breaks. If you're not familiar with the Pomodoro technique, you basically work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. You do that 3 times and then you take a 45-minute break. And that just enables you to be able to focus on that within the browser, which seems like a bit of an odd thing for them to put in, but not when you see where they're going. I can, in Vivaldi, take screenshots. I can use countdown timers. I can set alarms. I can do Pomodoros. I can focus on 2 pages at once. I don't need to go anywhere else to do it. So it's more of like, we thought about this years ago. Could we ever have a browser and or sites inside it that meant we didn't need to go anywhere else? And given the fact that I use Roam, you can see my 2 Roam entries here. This is my daily notes, and this is my book club entry. And Notion, I can get my work done in here. I use Craft. I can also get Craft done in here because now there's a web-based version. My email is with Google. My calendar is with Google. Could I live in a web browser? Yes. Yes, I could. Maybe I should buy a Chromebook. Maybe that's the way forward, Mike. Oh, no, because that wouldn't be Vivaldi, would it? No, that would be Google Chrome. So no to a Chromebook. Tell you what, I'll buy the most expensive Mac I can get my hands on and turn it into the equivalent of a Chromebook, a Vivaldi book. So those are the things that you've got on that bar at the bottom, which, as I say, I don't particularly have shown. What I do use extensively is the sidebar, which is over here. You can see Mike's edited. He's got rid of all the chat. But I have over here the most important sites to me. And I use them like this in a sidebar. There are 5 of them. I use 4 a lot. The 5th one's there as like, oh, and there's that. But these sidebars are just wide enough for the chat to work. So obviously I have one for MacBites FM. I've got another one for Brooklands 196, and I use that at the weekends when we're going live, when the chat is there. I've got WhatsApp, which I'm not going to bother, because if I do, it's going to start sending me notifications. But I have WhatsApp hosted in there. So on a Saturday night, I can flick between 196 and WhatsApp for all of the chat. And the last tab that I have is Google Keep. I technically wouldn't need Google Keep, would I? Because we've just ascertained that Vivaldi does notes. So also in here, I have Vivaldi notes, but you can see I haven't got any. My logic was I use different browsers, and it would make sense to have Google Keep there because I can use the same notes in different browsers. But seeing as though I've binned every other browser, might actually just use Vivaldi Notes and be done with it. They do synchronize with your Vivaldi account. What else we have in here? We have all the bookmarks we've got, which I'll fold these up so we can see them. Mine are very, very plain in terms of how I have them organised. So I have an inbox. I then have my para system, projects, areas, resources and archive. So if I've been using a group of tabs for a particular thing and I don't think I'm going to use them again, they'll just go in the archive. I have current projects in there. So in here, I've got my Rome Book Club and I've got my Build a Second Brain Cohort 12. And in the inbox, I just throw things that I'm not particularly, they're not a project yet. I'll just bookmark them. And then if they turn into a project, then I'll move them. And if not, then I'll just delete them. So that is what you have for bookmark management in there. You also have all your downloads listed. So all the stuff in there that you've downloaded. You've then got all the sites that you've visited as well. That's your history, which you can fold up. So that particularly shows you today, but you can choose exactly what that does show you. So all of those are yesterday's. I could see the last 7 days, and then it makes sense to fold these up. So as I'm folding these up, I'm looking at different ones. I can even go the last 30 days, but it's a long list for 30 days. And there's a date range where I could specify what the date range is. So if I knew like what book, where did I visit on a particular day or a particular 2 days, then you can actually put that in as well. I just love the history feature. It's amazing. And if it's opened up not in that sidebar, if it's in a whole window, then you get a whole calendar view. It's stunning. It really is stunning. Then you've got your notes, which we've just glanced at. And then you've got your windows. So what this is showing you is what's actually opened in here. So if we start at the top, we're looking at this window. When we open that, we've got pinned tabs, which you can actually fold up. So they are my Notion hosted tabs, or Rome or Notion. Then I can focus then on down here, which other tabs do I have open that I can work with. So just another way of working with them. Handy if you do want to get rid of that on the other side. Just depends how you're working. Then I've got my choice. So I've got Rome, I've got MacBites FM, I've got Brooklands 196, WhatsApp and Google Keep. But because I've got this sorted in terms of I can just fold everything away. Loving it. How that there's just nothing there. There's nothing other than what I need. Like I say, the only one that I actually actively use is this copy tab info. So, right, how is all this happening and what on earth is going on with these new things? Well, the one thing that I do find very strange that they've done is, I don't know if you're aware, but there is a shortcut key to bookmark a page, and that's Command and D. Command and D is the same in any application, any browser. Command and D will make a bookmark, but usually it stops and it gives you a dialog box and it lets you fill everything in, and then you can choose where to put it and everything like that. They've done away with that. So if I wanted to bookmark a page, have a bookmark for this page, if I just press Command and D, that's it. If you missed that, the giveaway was up there when we're looking at that. So if I choose a different page like that one, you watch what's happening up there when I hit Command and D. It tells you that it's added a bookmark. It's a frictionless workflow. There's no stopping and filling things in and doing all the rest of it. It's just saved it. The problem I've got with that is, and put it where? Because I don't just have like one dumping ground for bookmarks. You must be kidding. Organised to within an inch of their little lives. So where did it actually dump it? So in the bookmarks, there's my folders, and then these two at the bottom. And those two at the bottom are the ones it's just saved. If you need to organise that, there's a shortcut key to get straight to there. And that is Command, Option and B for bookmarks. It's the same on every browser. So what I do with these is I would then organise them. So I would put these in there maybe. What I'm going to do with them is actually delete them. So they've gone into the deleted ones, because I want to show you the alternative to doing that, because I don't know about you, but I do not want to have in another task at the end of the day, sort out the Vivaldi bookmarks. Because if I want to bookmark something, I'm that organised, it needs to be bookmarked in exactly the right place straight away. So actually I was horrified with that, and I thought, well, just a minute, what if I wanted or needed to put that in a certain place? And the trick is you actually hit this icon, a bookmark page. When you hit that, it's already added the bookmarks. So it's actually at the bottom of this thing already. But you get the option at this point. So if I want that to be what's new in Vivaldi, but I don't need that on the end, then I can rename the bookmark at this point. I can even in here, it's going to the first one, #1, which is a bookmark, HTML bookmark. I don't want to go there either. And I can even put in a nickname or a description. I can then choose where it goes. This is the most important bit as far as I'm concerned. I want to put that bookmark in the inbox. So I can actually click inbox there. You could put it on your speed dial. If you are using speed dial, there is an option to put it on the speed dial. I don't really use the speed dial, not interested. Right, so I am going to put this in the inbox. What's new in Vivaldi? We'll even put in there after hours, so you know it was created during this show. And then you hit done. Benefit of that is when you go into your bookmarks, which I also have that up there, but oh no, I don't want to do that. Go away. Let's close that and we'll bring them up in here so we can actually see them. And if I open up my inbox in there, oh look, fixture lists and things. But I do have this one that was created just now, and it's filed at the same point. It's not swimming around where I've got to deal with it. I've actually saved it to the place I want to save it to. And it's as simple as that with the bookmarks. So at first I was horrified, and then I thought, no, I can live with this. That's fine. There are a few other things with bookmarks that could lead you astray. In terms of, you can choose in your bookmarks. So if we go into the bookmarks, no, I'm not going into those. I'm convinced that's what it is, but it's not there. It's over here. So I'm in the bookmarks. Can I do that in here? I think I can. Let's say I'm working on a project. So I'm working on my Build a Second Brain. And I want it that if I go into a new page in Vivaldi, I'd like to see all the bookmarks that are in there. That would be grand if I could do that. And you do get an option in here when you right click on it. Are you going to do it for me, or are you not in that view? Yes, you are. You can set it to be a bookmark bar, or you can use it as the speed dial. How cool is that? Oh, that's just amazing. So what that it would do, any folder, anywhere in your bookmark collection, you can have it use it as the speed dial. Or you could set that bookmark to be the bookmark bar folder, which is appearing up here. So when I bring that in, I have these bookmarks. Where are they coming from? Well, I have a specific folder set to be the bookmark folder. And if we know our para system, that's going to be a resource. So I have one folder in here that's my bookmarks bar, and I have another that is the speed dial. And you change which is which. So if you wanted to do it on a temporary basis, just right click it, set it, and then you can right click it and set it back. It's so flexible. It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So I absolutely love that. Right, I was also going to show you, wasn't I? So let's get rid of that. Let's close that up. And close the bar up at the top. Oh, there's one caveat on that. One caveat. If you're using something, so let me give you a new page, Command and T. If you're using something like I am as your home page, obviously for that to work with the speed dial, you have to be using the speed dial. And I'm not. I'm using speed dial 2. I'm not using the Vivaldi speed dial. Right, that'll do. All I need to do is to go into the preferences and show you what's going on in here. There's a lot of preferences, a lot. But pro tip for that, use the search at the top when you're looking for things. So for instance, if we look down the side, there are lots of groups in there, but gestures isn't a title on any of them. Where are the gestures? So if we put gesture in, we'll show you that we've got some in the keyboard, we've got some in the mouse, so they actually show you the different places where they actually are. But we'll go into mouse, and this is where you allow the gestures. So that's where you toggle gestures on and off. Down here is where you map the gestures to what movement you want to make with the mouse for it to do that. So I showed you closing a tab. And if I just leave it sat there, it's showing you what you would need to do with the right mouse button to close a tab. If you want to reload a page, you move it up and then down. Up and then down. So if we go into here and we do, getting back to my blog, where are we? Right, and we want to reload that. So we'll let it load in and we'll go somewhere. We will go to, let's go to the bridge one. Right, that's loaded in and you saw it load in. If I now move up and down, it will then reload. And if you look up there at that reload, up and down, and it reloads. So it's a gesture for reloading. And you can decide what gestures you'd like. So some of them, history back, I said to you, I click and drag back. History forwards, I click and drag forward. But if there's one in here that you would like to use and it doesn't have a gesture. So let's see, I think all of these may have gestures. Let's have a look. All of these look like they actually do have gestures. But if you wanted to do a gesture, it's something you do all the time, then what you could do is you could actually add a gesture. So you can create a new gesture. How you do that is by choosing in here what you actually want that to be. So is it a new window? And there's all of these things. Anything that you can do, you can apply a gesture to. This is so fantastic for accessibility for people who may struggle with the mouse or the keyboard or the trackpad, whatever they're working in. So you just choose one. Let's choose, should we have a note? Show me the notes panel. All right. And then you click next, and then you go in here and it says, right, what gesture do you want? And I'm hoping this is working. I've just selected that, but this is saying history forward. We'll do it. We'll do it. I'm not sure if it is actually saving. There we go. I'll do that. In fact, it's not, is it? It's on the wrong one here. Where's my notes? Where's my notes? You were supposed to add my notes. Should we go back and try again? I don't see notes in there. Right, new window. Right, that's the one I want. No, it's not what I want, is it? It was notes. Come on, notes. Notes panel. Right, next. It's saying recording a notes panel gesture, but is it saving it? Okay, let's do it anyway. Notes. Oh, no. That's not what I want. I want to do that. And then save it. Go on. You can do it, can't you? You can. Oh, it's misbehaving. Did I say it came out quite recently? But trust me, they are amazing. They're amazing. I'll come out of that and sort it out later. But those gestures are absolutely amazing. If you only learn the ones that are there, you will quickly get used to them. The other thing that you can do with gestures is choose to do it only when the option key is held down. So if you find that your gestures are activating and you don't particularly want that, then you could force yourself to hold the option key down to make them work. Or you could just turn them off. Thing is, not many people know that they're actually there, but they are incredibly useful. I think probably with a mouse, they're probably more difficult to use than a finger on a trackpad. But I love them. I have loved them for years and years, and I'm glad that they are there. Right, was there anything else I needed to show you in here? Let me have a look. No, done everything that I wanted to show you in there, which is good news, isn't it? So I've switched. I was fighting myself not to switch, just because it hosts Notion, and I don't really want, sometimes I'm working with 50 tabs and I don't want Notion overloaded with them. But what I've done to make that easier is I've left it open in that view. My pinned tabs are the important ones. So what I could do down here is right click and lose all of those tabs, because these tabs, I can hibernate them, I can put them in the background, I can stack them all, I can work with these because it is treating these 3 tabs as different than these up here. If you notice these up here, you can't close them. If I click on here, it goes to it, but here I get across. It's all configurable. It's completely configurable. What you would need to do to actually close it is to unpin it and then close it. And I have them separated with a separator bar, and again, that's completely optional. But the features I've enabled to help me work with this, where it is now my default browser, is particularly the bookmarks bar at the top. These that I have up here are things that I need to get to really quickly. So I could afford to close some of these and get to them up here if I needed to. And the other thing that I've done to make it easier is the side panel over here. Come on, let's pick one of these. Let's pick the notes. I've put shortcuts for every one of these in here, and I can toggle it on, toggle it off, toggle it on, toggle it off, and I'm in and out that fast. It's just fantastic. It's the best browser I have ever used, and you know I've been going on about it for ages. It's amazing how many people with gestures. I don't think Apple does a good job of explaining how gestures work or what gestures there are. And many people with an iPad suddenly do like a 4-fingered swipe, totally oblivious that that does something. They just think that I'm just moving one thing and you're not. I think Apple could do a better job with the onboarding of that. But if you never want to see a gesture at all, then don't worry about it. You don't need to. Right, I will get rid of that. I will move that over there. And we will go into the next bit. Right, where was I heading next? Not where it thinks I'm heading, that's for sure. I'm heading somewhere else entirely.
Carol wants to know if gestures would work with a Wacom tablet.
I don't see why not. Because all that's doing is what a mouse would do. So yes, it should do. It should do. Right, okay. I need to move that out of the way, don't I? No, I don't. You're seeing what you should be seeing, which makes a change, doesn't it? Right, Workspaces. We need to go back in time. We need to go back to last week when we looked at Side Notes, which was a fabulous app. Love it. My desk is totally clear. There's no post-it notes on it at the moment. It's an app from Apptorium, and to make it even better, it's in Setup, which means if you've got Setup, you've already got it. So we looked at Side Notes, but for those who don't have Setup or who don't want Setup, the other alternative way of purchasing it is via the App Store. It's $19.99, or if you were to buy it with its brother application, Workspaces, it would be $29.99 for the pair. So that's why it was mentioned last week, and we thought we would look at it this week. Workspaces is also available in Setup. So if you've got Setup, you've got the pair already and you don't need to worry anything about it. So let's go and have a look at Workspaces. One thing I don't think I mentioned last week, because I thought it was obvious, but on reflection it might not be that obvious, is when you are using your Side Note thing, which is now on the wrong screen. Oh, crying out loud. Can I actually drag you across? Or is that not a good idea? Oh, never mind. Right, in Side Notes we looked at last week, one thing that I thought was clear but might not be. You can drag images in there. You can drag any type of file format in there. Doesn't matter at all. Right, so Workspaces, whole different business. Right, I have this, which is the way into it, and I have two things set up. Workspaces enables you to configure your preferred workspace and then enable you to activate it when you need it. So obviously the one that makes most sense for me is Good Morning. Right, so what I'm doing in here is just showing you a workspace so you get an idea for what we're actually looking at. So what I do every morning, I activate this workspace and it opens 3 applications for me. Roam, Things 3 and Slack. Interestingly, Roam there is no Roam app. So if you use Roam and you think, just a minute, where's she got a Roam app? I'm using Edge, Microsoft Edge, to host a dedicated application. So all it is a wrapper from Microsoft Edge. But it is saved in your applications folder and you can use it within applications like this. So first thing I do is open Slack, Things 3 and Roam. And that is what this enables me to do, which might not seem that thrilling, but it is. Because it doesn't just open them, it opens them in the last place that you had them. It remembers the position and it minimises everything else to enable you to focus on just those apps. You don't actually have to open even all of them if you want. You could choose to only open 2 or open them one at a time. If you want to activate them all, you get to this point and Command and R, and that activates them all. But if we just go back, I also have another one, which is called Marooned. And when I go into that, these are the things that I need to open up when I'm about to do Marooned at MacBites headquarters. So obviously we use Audio Hijack and we use Farrago. This here where it says Marooned is not an application. That is me saying, can you open the Marooned page in my browser? So you're not limited with this to applications. You could tell it to open specific files, go to specific locations, whatever you need it to do. So let's see how we actually do that. So in here we have the preferences, and this is where the whole thing is driven from. Can you configure this on 3 screens? Oh, Renee, yes, because I've got 3 screens. It will remember where the applications were. So just set it up perfectly for you and then do the saving thing, and then it will open up exactly where you want it. Right, so your first option here is whether you have this as full or minimalistic, and it's referring to this dialog box where you're going to search for things. So that hides a lot of the interface. If we go back, you've got the edit button and you've got the preferences at the bottom. I leave that just set to full. You could sort the workspaces, including by name, most recently used, or used most. Then you've got in here the behavior. So what happens when you've launched one of the resources, and by resources it means one of the items in here. So if you've only run one, what do you want to happen? And your options are close after launching a resource manually, or open with a single mouse click, or open the resource, the workspace, or a resource with a single mouse click. I don't ever want it to just do one, I must be honest. The reason that I've created these things is to get me to a certain place quickly. I need to see application 1, 2 and 3 and go to these 3 websites. Just do that. I wouldn't open them necessarily one at a time. Other thing you've got is your ability to open or hide. And again, it's talking about this dialog box up here. And you can see that there is a shortcut key, which is Command, Option and Control and down arrow. And that toggles it on and off. So it's a little bit like Alfred. Right. Let's go back to the... Have we sorted? No, I don't think we did this, did we? I have this starting on startup. You can also add to that whether you would like to open one of these every time you do. And I don't want to do that, but you may. You can configure it to be light or dark, because we always have Kim with I'd quite like it dark. It does dark and it also matches your system settings. Can't remember why I had that light actually. Well, never mind, might change it. Then you've got this option here that when a workspace starts, do you want to hide the other applications? So that's an option. I said I choose to hide them, and or play a sound. If you're asking it to open a file in your Finder, you can choose between Finder and Forklift. You may even be able to choose another one. So I've also got Pathfinder in here. So if I wanted that to be the default, let's get into applications, and there is Pathfinder. Okay, then I can even add that in. So I've got the two that are aware that they can have files opened in them, and another one that I've actually added. So I'll change that back to Finder, but you get the idea. You do have to re-choose it. It doesn't remember it, but the two that are available as a default are there. Then you've got the editor window, which is this window again. So we're talking about this window here. This is where you define a workspace, and you will then save that, you will then reuse it, or you can come in here and you can actually edit it. And you can set new resources to launch on startup if you want to. And then you've got this show and hide for the editor, which I haven't actually configured, because I figured the last thing I need is one more. Trust me, one more shortcut to remember. I think I already know about 3000. Can you open a folder and an app at the same time? Yes, absolutely. Any of the objects it supports, you can do at the same time. Right, so we've got plugins that you can add. I haven't gone down that route at all, but this is for running things like shell scripts and even closing applications. So if every time you run one of these, you would like it to close an application, then you could set that up as a script. And then you've got your data if you need to import it from Workspaces 1.5, which I did have and I grossly underused. You can also open your data folder, which is this one here, and that you can just back up the whole lot there if you want to back that up, which is why it's a good idea to do just that. Right, so we've seen everything that that can do. Let's get into the editor and actually create one. So what I thought would be a good idea, and I know that's disappeared, but I'll be back in it in a minute because I've set them up. Right, what I thought would be a good idea is to totally create a new thing. I can't show you either of these, unfortunately. I would love to. But if I set this to do a Marooned thing, it's going to get really uppity with the audio because some of the Marooned assets we're using to broadcast live. So that's why I can't do the Marooned one. The Good Morning one I could probably do, but it will break it for me for tomorrow because it will remember this small screen, and I've made the resolution smaller so I can share with you. So I thought, you know what, let's just create an entirely new one. So we have this edit option at the top, and this will enable us to edit existing configurations and create new ones. So in my Good Morning, I have Slack and I have Things and I have Roam. And each of these is an application. So as soon as I go into here, you can see it's an application. I think my other ones are slightly different. This one here is a page. So what I want to do with that, I want it to open up a URL. Now the reason that it's got this icon on it, you might think that's not a browser. No. I have my browsers all controlled with an app called Browser Ninja. Used to use Browser Fairy, but it went subscription, so that was the end of it as far as I was concerned. So I use Browser Ninja. And Browser Ninja controls what URLs are opened in what browsers. I always wanted Notion to be opened in Vivaldi anyway. But now Vivaldi's the default. But even if Vivaldi wasn't the default, it would still open in Vivaldi because that's what I've done with Browser Ninja. If you remember, that was this one. And in our preferences, oh, you're going to hide behind there, are you? For crying out loud. Yeah. Right. These are my browsers, but these are my rules. So if it's Notion, it opens up in Vivaldi. If it's Creative Market, it opens up in Chrome. And if it's any of these that are smothered with ads, it opens up in Canary. That's the only browser I don't have an ad blocker in. I would love to ad block these sites, trust me, but I can't read anything if I do, so I just open them in a different browser. And that is the sole purpose of Browser Ninja. So that's why down here we have this icon and not a browser icon. You will probably see a browser icon. So what I thought would be a good idea if we've created a new one So I'm creating an entirely new workspace. And I'm going to call this one Good Afternoon. Right. That's it for creating it. You've created it now. You can see straight away over here it's appeared at the bottom. But obviously, if we click on that, there's nothing there. And that's why it says click the edit button to start adding stuff. And although that says add stuff here, you actually add it in here. So if I hit on the plus down here, it will show you all of the things that you can have opening automatically from this workspace. So it starts off with a file. So if there's a particular file that you want open every time you go to this workspace, you can do that by choosing the file. You can also have it choosing a folder. So if I go in there, I give them the opportunity to put a title for this. So let's say I wanted this to be After Hours Assets folder. Then I need to drag and drop the folder onto the icon on the right hand side. So to do that, I need to go into the Finder. Defaults to Dropbox, but no worries because it's over here. This is the one that I need. What I would need to do is to go up a level so I can actually see the Assets folder, which is that one there, and drag and drop it into there. So that's actually adding it. Then you've got options. So what do you want it to open with? So although you've got a default set at the top level of Workspaces, you even in here can choose something else entirely to open it with if you want. So that's your open with in there, right? So we're hiding that away. Then you've got options to say when you want to see it. So either manually, on start, when I actually go into this workspace, or when I'm coming out of this workspace. You can even get more granular than that. Do you want it to happen immediately, or do you want to have it happen with a delay? So would you like that to happen 5 seconds after the first thing, or maybe a minute or something? Which is great if you're chaining a workflow together. But I don't think I'm going to need it. I want that immediately. And then once it's launched, you can even say and then hide it. Although for the Finder, that would probably be absolutely useless. So I'm going to leave that set to on start and immediately. That was a folder. Back down in here, you can have a website. And if that opens up, it's going to open up in that default browser, or it's going to open up in the browser that you have configured via an application like Browser Ninja to open it. So if we add that in there and we just say blog, like I look at my blog every day. Oh dear. Right, you can either drag that there or you can type it in. So let's put that in there. And again, you've got all the same options here of start up immediately, whether you want to hide it. And drilling down into the options, you can choose what that opens with. The only problem with that, it's thinking about it the minute, there we are. It's got all of the browsers in there. But I don't know how it would interact with Browser Ninja, so I'm going to leave it alone. Browser Ninja handles that. That's not something I would ever change in here. But your mileage may vary. Right, so that's got the blog ready to open. Let's have a look at the rest of the stuff we've got in here. You can open up an email. I guess if you do something at a particular time. I know something I do with that. Every week I send Frank a mail. Frank's one of our listeners on Brooklands 196, and he's not into the socials. He's in the chat on a Saturday, but he's not into the socials. So we send a separate mail telling him what the theme is. This week's theme is movie night. So I could, if this was like my Wednesday view, have it open up with an email addressed to Frank ready for me to type into it. So you could do that with an email. Where I find the most value is the application, so to choose an application. So this is my afternoon one, and I would like my text editor to open in the afternoon. I don't know why either, it just seemed like a good idea. So I'm going to put my text editor in here. So I need to drag and drop that over there. So to do that, I need to find my text editor. And my text editor of choice is Sublime Text. So I'm going to drag that into there. Again, you've got your options. So your options on an application, do you want to open a file or directory? And if you do, then you can choose it in there. I'm leaving all of these alone because I want all of this to happen all at once, because I'm like that. First thing I would do in the afternoon is I would check my to-do list. So I would do that with another application. I use Things, and I would go back into my applications over here and find it. There is Things, and I would drag that in there. So it will open Things and it will remember where it was the last time that I had it open. What else would I do in the afternoon? Maybe I want to go to a particular page or be ready to do something in a dedicated browser like Edge. So I could do that in here by adding another application, this being Microsoft Edge, ready for me to do something in there. Need to go find it. It's probably under Microsoft and not Edge. Oh, how did I guess? Right, so I make sure that I'm clicked on there, drag and drop the icon on, and I'm good to go. But just for sake of completeness, the rest of the stuff you've got in here, you could run a terminal command. That might be handy for backing up something before you start doing it. You could just put a URL in. Rather than, say, go to this browser and do that, you could just put a URL in. Obviously, those URLs, not just external URLs either. They could be internal URLs where you want it to do something. So if an application has an internal URL schema, you could do that as well. And then you've got actions. If you want to do a particular action on something, which I haven't got any of those set up. The separator that it's talking about in here is, I've got a separator and that's got no title, but I'll just put sep on it so we know that that's a separator. You can move these things up and down, all of them. And the reason that I put a separator in there is so you can see as you come over here, it's actually, though it says a separator, it's actually like a title. So if I wanted to give this like URLs, and these would be all the URLs. If I wanted all the blog stuff, all the browser stuff down there, I can move those and organise the entire thing like that. So what we want this to do, we want it to open up a folder for the after hours assets. We want it to open up Sublime Text, open Things, and then it's going to go to 2 different URLs. In fact, 1 URL and just open Edge. Now, for all of that to work and work properly, the next step is not in here at all. And that also goes to your preferences if you want to change anything at that point, which we don't. But what we now have in here is our good morning, our good afternoon, and our marooned. Marooned happens later, so I would move that down. And now it makes sense that the first thing would be good morning, the second would be good afternoon, and I would create a good evening one, and a before bed one, maybe. Okay. So I'm going to lose this at this point. This does not, we don't need to have that open because we're not editing it. In there, I don't even need to see that. So I'm going to get rid of that as well. Because the very next thing you need to do is set up where are these things now. So, where's Things? Well, Things is on the other screen. And I would like that to be bang on the centre. So I've got 1 week to finish this Spice Girls special. God, that's been agonising, I can tell you. I want that to be the first thing that I see, but because my screen's so small, I don't particularly want it to be that width. So I want it in the centre there. And then on either side of it, I want to have some other things that are opening. So Sublime Text, that's going to sit right on the top of it, isn't it? But if I take it down to the left-hand side and then scoot it down a little bit more, in essence, I'm going to create like a trifold view on here. Right, what else did I want opening? Edge. Edge I wanted opening. Then I open up Edge. Edge actually has something open in it. Not the best way to do it, but we'll leave it alone and we'll do it. Right, so I'm moving Edge onto here and I'm putting Edge on the right-hand side. And that would need to be much tinier if we're actually going to see it, because I'm going to make it even smaller. So it's next to each other. Right, come on. Right. I can't make that much smaller. I can probably make that a bit smaller. There we go. So I've lined all of those up where I actually want them. So this part of the configuration system is not actually inside Workspaces. It's outside it, where you want things to happen. Right. Then, I don't need these open right now, do I? So I'm going to close each one of these. That one's going to be interesting. but we'll do it anyway. Right, let's close that. So all of them are now closed. How do we actually work with it? Right, use your shortcut key, get to the one that you want, which is the afternoon one. And then from within there, you can obviously confirming what you're actually going to do. And then Command and R, which it tells you at the bottom, Command and R, if you want to run them all. But look what happens when you press Command and R. Well, it's actually doing it at the moment. So away it goes. Hang on. That doesn't need to be there, does it? That was on there. So it should remember that as well. But what it's done is it's opened up the assets. I didn't have that set to a particular size, but it's opened the assets folder. It's also opened my blog in the default web browser, which is Vivaldi. And it's opened these exactly where I need them. And it's opened up Sublime, but on the wrong screen. So that needs dealing with. But everything that I wanted opened has opened up. That was a success. Good grief. Right, don't know about why Sublime was on the wrong screen. What I will say with this, there was a couple of applications that didn't work at all. And I don't know why. So I'm contacting the developers of the apps that didn't work. For me, they were important apps like Audio Hijack. That was a showstopper. But most of the apps work absolutely fine. It was just a couple of quirky ones that I had, which I will check if there's a reason why they're not working. So that was creating one. Right, let me go back and lose all of these. In fact, we'll leave that where it is. We'll do that. And we will close that. Right. So, we go back into it. I was saying, if I Command and R, it's actually opening that on the other screen. Oh, I think it's got issues with which screens things are opened on, which was working perfectly when I had this at full resolution. So it could well be the resolution that I'm actually running it at. But we will lose that again and close that again. Right, so when I activate that, it's flashing by. If I hold the command key down, it will show you that you can open up any one of those with a shortcut. So if I just wanted to see things and I command and 3, things comes back. It leaves that where it is so I can hold command down again and say, oh, and in addition to that, I want Microsoft Edge. So that's command and 5. And Microsoft Edge opens. And then you can hide that. So what this is useful for is for you to sit down and work out, instead of app overload where you've got 3 million apps open, like me, all the time, you sit down and you work out a workflow for you. So in my case, it's like, what do I want first thing in the morning? What do I want in the afternoon? What do I want in the evening? And what do I want before bed? And I run them like that. Just open everything up, do what I need to do, and then come out of it. It is for setting up a work environment that is just what you need and no more than what you need. And for that, it does work incredibly well. What do you think you will be looking at with doing with this? Oh, Dickon's gone Vivaldi. Looks like I'll be binning Chrome. Well, we've had a request for Vivaldi, a deep dive. And didn't I see earlier, Mike? Did you see this? Didn't Kim want to build with me with Vivaldi?
She did.
How I've set Vivaldi up. Yeah. Well, we'll deep dive Vivaldi. It is the browser as far as I'm concerned. Brave is very good. If you're in the business of binning Chrome, Brave is very good. The reason that I actually had to leave Firefox in the end was just one extension that isn't there. And it's the one extension that I use. I cannot find anything in Firefox that matches it. So in here, I have that one extension. It's a Chrome extension. So Vivaldi supports all the Chrome extensions. Firefox does not. So for that one reason, Firefox has had to go. There are still things that I will use Firefox for that are dedicated jobs, but you're going the right way with Vivaldi. It's fabulous. Right, have we got any questions on that?
Carol wanted to know how much it was. I've given her the answer.
$19.99 or the equivalent of $14.99 if you buy it in a bundle with side notes. Carol's got an issue with Vivaldi. Oh no. For work, when you click on a link, it opens a pop-up and you need to copy and paste some text from the pop-up and Vivaldi doesn't let you. Ooh, that's probably a security issue. There's a couple of apps that would get around that. What's the quickest way to show that right now? We just need some text somewhere, some nice text. Right, let's do it in here. There's a couple of apps. Mike was after one of them, if I recall correctly. Let's go into the App Store. Can't remember if this is available from the App Store or direct, but there's one called Text Sniper. Is that the one? There we go. That will let you extract any text, even from a picture. That's not the one I use. What was that app called, Mike? Because I binned it.
Can't remember.
Well, you installed it, so go find it. What apps like these allow you to do is to take a screenshot, like this text here. You can't copy this. It's text, but you can't copy it. If I wanted that to put in my blurb for me training this, I have to retype it. I have an app that does this, but if you could find the other one, that would be grand. Oh, do you know, I can see the icon. I can't remember the name of it. No
idea.
Right, but there are 3 apps that I know, if I could remember the name of the other one, that will let you take text on a screen that's not copyable and turn it into text. So this is one of them, this Text Sniper. I'm using Text Sniper, but I'm using the way that I do it, which is I have a shortcut key, Command, Option and Shift, and T. And that activates Snagit. And I then draw around the text that I would like to rather be text. And Snagit goes away and has a think about it. And there's the text. Obviously, there's some spaces that need dealing with. But that is editable text. So I could actually go in here and start editing it in here and tidy it up. And that there was no other way to capture that. Now, the app that I'm thinking of, when Mike discovers what it's called...
No idea. Are you sure I installed it?
Yes, you did. You specifically asked me.
On this machine?
I tell you what, let's try OCR screen text. You probably won't find a thing.
Because
there's quite a few of these now. Good grief.
You.
Grab text in pictures, easy screen OCR. Basically, it's an OCR app. This would work anywhere. I just need to find the one that we used, that we tested, and it was good value, and I can't remember the name of because I don't use it anymore because I've configured Snagit to do it. But if you don't have Snagit, and Snagit's not cheap, then there are these other apps to do it with. But this one was very inexpensive. But I have heard that Text Sniper's very, very good. It's basically doing OCR on a screen capture at the same time. But I think Text Sniper gives you a few more options. In fact, looking at Text Sniper, hang on a minute. If we look at this video that's playing here, he's taking a screenshot, says copied to the clipboard, and did we just see what he was doing? When I pause it, you can't see it. Let's play it. There is...
Pick a text.
Pick a text, that's it, pick a text. That's the one. Is it still there?
No idea.
Let's have a look at this side over here. He's using side notes. He's putting it in side notes. Yeah, that is the companion app to this. That's side notes.
$3.99.
That's why that one was cheap, you see. Yeah, I've remembered it now. Now Mike's told me what it was. There we go. This was the one that I used before I used Snagit. And this was the one that Mike was using because he hadn't bothered to configure Snagit. But that works brilliantly. It does exactly the same job as you've just seen. In fact, I will install it so you can see it, because this one was much better value. The only problem with this is it's not been updated in 4 years. So going forward, you might have a problem trying to actually use it. But there it is. What you would do with it is you would grab this and then go around some text. So before I do that, I need to get some text to go round. So let's take that, round the text. Obviously, it's trying to record the screen, crying out loud. Cancel or allow. Just do not want me to reboot. Right, this was screen recording, wasn't it? Which is where's the screen recording? Oh, for crying out loud. Did I miss it, or is it there? There it is. Right, I'm going to need to do that. Right, Apple Watch saves me typing it. Fabulous. And somewhere in here it will be. So it needs permission. Yes, quit it now. You know, why not, eh? If you're old enough to remember those ads, cancel or allow. Right, so for the third time. Right, let's grab the text. Have a think about it. And I think that does a better job, actually. It's not got all the errant lines in it and stuff. And from there you can actually send it places, or you can just copy it. So send it somewhere out of there, or copy it and you're done. And then you can put that wherever you want. So I'm glad you remember the name of that, Mike. I could never remember the name of it before. But that is...
I found out by searching for OCR Mac.
Oh.
10 best Mac apps.
It is very good. I mean, for $4, it's amazing. Right, okay, so hopefully that solved a problem. And Text Sniper's in Setup. Oh, good grief. Now Carol needs to know what Setup is. Setup is a subscription-based service for Mac applications. You never own them, but you pay a monthly fee. Is setup.com? A monthly fee of $9.99, and you get access to, I think it's over 200 applications now. So if we look at all the applications, can we have a whole list? All the apps. Thank you. Not just the crowd favourites, all of them. We've got some new ones. Glyphs Mini. I've got that. Here's all the applications. So all of these applications are included in a single subscription. You pay $9.99 a month, and it gives you the right to install it on... Come on, guys. Is it one machine at the minute? I think it is, isn't it? It used to be two, and now it's one. And that's why I don't use it, because I've got more than one Mac. But you can get all these applications. So if you just want to try something or do a particular job once, and you don't really want to buy the application, so maybe you want to record your screen, you've got Capto to do it, but you only want to do it once, as I'm saying. So all of them, there's quite a few, isn't there? And many of them we have talked about. Carol is impressed. Right, first one in with a referral code gets it if Carol buys it. Right, I don't know what you get with the referral code, but there you go. Many people are using this. I'm not. I've not had the best of experiences with the company. And I've got most of the applications already, so it doesn't make sense for me. But the apps that a lot of the apps that we've looked at, you know, first thing we do, is it in there? And if it's in there, awesome. People will be very happy. Oh, I could do News Explorer because I love that. Use that in many ways. So there you go. Have a look at that. There's some good apps in there, and not much in the way of overlap, but there is some overlap between the applications. Right, I put that in there. I'll put a link in, but if somebody's got a referral link and Carol wants to use a referral link, there you go. 1 month free for the referrer. Well, wouldn't you think they'd give the referee 1 month as well? Make it worthwhile. Like Canva do. That'd work nicely. Okay. So we took a little aside there with Piker Text. Now we've remembered that it's Piker Text. But we were actually talking about... Where have you disappeared to now? There. Let's get that in the centre of the screen. Okay. Workspaces. So it doesn't do anything per se other than set you up. It's like turning on your Mac, running one of those, and it's set up to perfection. You don't take 10 minutes, well, I'll just put this here and I'll just arrange that there. It's a layout tool for your applications. I particularly enjoy it when it automatically hides all the other apps, then I can focus on what I'm doing and then take them away entirely. Get back to what I was doing. No problem distracting me at all. No problem at all. Hello, Simon. Right, okay. I will come out of there now and we will get back into our presentation. Oh, we're looking at Canva. I might need to take a slight hiatus here. Has everything finished over there?
Looks like it,
Can you stop the recording then? I've got an 11 o'clock, I believe. This is going to be tricky, isn't it? I might have to take a slight hiatus. But we have been looking at Canva. Mike will put a link in for Canva. This link will give you guys a free credit and me a free credit if you haven't got a Canva account. Canva is fabulous. So we'll go and have a look at Canva. Right, what I was doing with Canva this week, I wonder which browser I was going to play around with as well. Shall we do the Vivaldi thing just because we can?
You want to save it?
Yes, please. In the local folder. Right, let's get rid of the sidebar. That's how neat and tidy I like everything. So, what we'd done was, in week 1, we'd done a quick tour of it and saw what it could do. So if you've not been with us for that, Canva is an online design system. I won't say service because it's a do-it-yourself thing, but all that you could possibly need is online. So many people who have spent many happy hours in Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator or any of the Affinity apps, sometimes it's just quicker to start in Canva, even if you then download it and take it to an application. There is a huge range of options in terms of what type of graphics you can create. So we did a design, didn't we, with the podcast thing in there. We did that one too, which had our branding in it. So what I did last week, first week we had to play around with it. Last week I took the trial. So that enabled me to create a brand kit, if you remember. So I'd uploaded some brand logos, I'd created one colour palette, but you can add other colour palettes if you want. So we hadn't done a second one, but you could. So if I wanted to see what we've got in the way of orange in here, Adventure in Arizona sounds good, doesn't it? Or a slip of orange. Slip of orange. Right, let's choose that one. So I've got the MacBites ones and I've got these ones in here. And I can then go in there if I want. I can reorder them, I can delete them, can add extra colours to them. But you can have more than one set of brand colours, which is very handy because obviously you can see here our after hours branding is completely different in colour and tone to the MacBites branding. But that was the brand kit. That's only available in the Pro version, and the price of that was hysterical, wasn't it? It was different every time we refreshed. So I'm not going to worry about that until the end of it. I think I ended up with it at about £8 a month, something like that. So what I thought we would do this time is just concentrate on one particular type of design. So I'm going to go back to the home here. These are all the design types that you have. So you could start with just a blank A4 document. You could start with an infographic. There are so many different options in here. So let's say I wanted something for Instagram. I can literally just start typing it and then I get suggested Instagram post that's generic, a Reels video, a story. Got all these options in here. All of these. We'll just do a simple post to start off with, which was how we started last time, but we weren't on the Pro version last time. So I'm in here and I'm looking for Instagram posts, but still, oh, they all look amazing, but what type do I want? You know, what do I want this to actually look like? Maybe somebody's done something and I could just use a template. So what I'm going to do, Instagram post, but then put podcast. And now all of the suggestions, they're still for an Instagram post, but they're actually narrowed down to be a podcast. And they do look podcasty, don't they? They look podcasty. So you've got microphones on them. You've got options at the bottom that have got transport controls on. If you've got a course in podcasting, oh, this is looking nice. So if you think about this, the way I looked at it, you know, could I design these myself? Yes. But have I got the time? No. So let's just do it. Let's just use one of these. And obviously you can then make that fit your brand. So you don't have to go through here and think, but I need an orange one. You can do that if you want. You can go up here and you can say, oh, an orange. You got an orange one. Yep, perfect. So I could actually do that if I wanted, but I'm going to want it more generic. I want to use my brand colours from the branding that we've got. So I just want to find one here that would actually work quite nicely. basically, for MacBites. What could we put in here for a new show? Something like that. Now that one is pretty dull, isn't it? It's nicely designed, but it's dull. It's not MacBites. No, that's not MacBites. But what you can do in here, if you remember, you can start using all the stuff that you've uploaded in your branding kit. So we've got photos that we've used before, that we've got in here. So these ones at the top I've used before, recently used. We have elements that we can add. So we use the pandas, if you remember. That would be me. We've got text, and we have our branding text. So this business talks here, no. That doesn't particularly work. We would need our heading there. So all I can do, just click it, and I've got a heading added. So I can get rid of that one. I've got my heading there. I can move this up. I should be able to move this up. There we go. It's moved up. I would probably want it a bit bigger than that. And center it, but now it's our text. So we could put on there, new MacBites. And very easy to make it bigger if I want to make it bigger. And I can nick into this one here and say, from the crew. In fact, let's put from the MacBites crew. But it's still not particularly looking like ours, is it? And mainly that's the colour. It's the colour. But we've got our colours down here. So what we could do is apply our colour to it. And every time you click it, it does a shuffle of the colours. So now we've got, if that was an after hours, that would be perfect. I think it looks better with that there. But you've also got all your other colours as well, if you wanted different ones. I'm not liking the browns, to be honest. No, I think I prefer ours, and I think I prefer it orange at the background. Some things that we didn't do last time that would make a good idea to do at the moment. You can change all of the backgrounds here. So if you wanted some kind of background on it that had a texture, you can do that. I am going to undo that. What I want to do is I'm quite happy with what I've got there, but I could do with a few bits and pieces. You know, just it looks a bit plain. So if I put in here, we looked up cow and we looked up panda. Let's put in microphone and see what we've got. Right, okay. That one's not bad. That one's not bad at all. And it means I can just drop it on there. Now that says it's a pro asset, but obviously I'm taking the trial at the moment, so that's fine. At the moment it's black and it's really standing out, and that's not good. But I can go in here and make that any colour I want. So I could use the blue, or I could make it like it fits in better with what's going on in here. And obviously with this being just a part of an asset, you can scale this up if you want. You could put it on here. Anything you want to do. You could also in here, I mean, I put microphones in. I was actually looking for, so let's say, some ornaments in here. Oh, Renee's Pro version not come through yet. Oh no. Beggars can't be choosers. It'll happen. It'll happen. Right, let's put lines. So we've got lines, lines and shapes. Lines and shapes is a good idea. Oh, now we can start to rock and roll. You can take some of these and just put them on there as like in the background. So I can change that so that looks very different at that corner just by putting that on top of it. Or make it even more different. I could make it smaller and drag it on here and then change the colour of it. So obviously at the moment it is the orange. I'm going to make that yellow. And if you pull that off, you can see you can have these shapes on there and just create different edges for it to give it a completely different look. I've got the lines here, so we'll put the lines on. But again, I don't particularly want that there like that. This is so smooth to edit. And that's coming from the Affinity Designer girl, isn't it? But it is, it's so smooth to edit it. And that one, I would probably have a nice white colour. So you started off with a very plain design, but you can then start to, oh, shall I use the word pimp it? You can pimp it with all of these shapes. So you see a lot of lines like this on Instagram. And most of them have these lines on them. They're just dotted around like that, aren't they? But, you know, to do something like that in Affinity Designer, of course it can be done. Probably take me 30 seconds. But the next time I come to use it, it's like, oh, no, I need to go and create those lines again. Whereas in here, you just drag and drop them on. And we've got to have a heart, haven't we? If it's going on MacBites, we've just got to have a heart. Should we have it blue, or should we go for what colour a heart usually is, which is red? That's sticking out, isn't it? But there you go. We'll do it anyway. We would need up here, this is MacBites, it's a new MacBites. What was the last MacBites? What's one of our crazy titles been?
We don't have to take our clothes off.
Yeah, that's right. Give me the longest title we've ever had, why don't you? What's the shortest one we've ever had?
Thanks, Steve.
Oh, it is. It was Thanks, Steve. Yes, this was when Steve Jobs died. It was Thanks, Steve, and it was episode 56, which was quite prophetic because he was 56 years old. Oh, we didn't plan it, obviously. Now, that's making the whole thing smaller, which we don't particularly want. We just want one bit of text smaller. So I'll duplicate it. That's just a copy and paste. I will take the Thanks Steve out of that bit. I will go up here and move that up and take that bit out of there. Right, let's grab hold of that and make that bigger. There we go. You can type in as well. I'm just enjoying clicking. And we'll move that slightly. There we go. So you can take that as far as you want. Now, you also have in your folders things that you have liked, your existing designs, stuff that's been shared with you, and logos. And the logos are coming from your brand kit. You can also choose to upload extra images if you want. But from here, I'm going to drag that one and I'm going to drop it in that middle bit there. I could do with making it a bit, not smaller on the outside. I could have done with it making it smaller on the inside. Need to redesign that, I think, so it fits in a circle, because so many graphics are in a circle now. But we've taken a standard design that the colour didn't work for and was really plain, and we've MacBitesed it. Oh, that says episode, doesn't it? I could put episode 56 in there because it was. But we don't have volume, so we'll get rid of that. Just so easy, so smooth to sort that out. So that's it on a very plain thing. But what we've done is taken it through the options that you've got down the side, which last week, didn't Sarah discover that that's where her branding kit was? She had no idea. You can also link all of this in there as a great integrations that you've got with it. But that's a very, very basic one. What I thought we would do is look at at least one type of thing that you can do in Canva that is a little bit more advanced and something that we've actually looked at before in relation to another service entirely. And the other service was called Pitch. Who remembers when we did Pitch? We did Pitch, and it was an application. It was a service, an online service, so software as a service. And it was a presentation creation app, and it was very smooth. It was very, very nice. It was very smooth. But it would be another subscription. And the beauty of this is, for less than the price of a Pitch subscription, if we go back to the home page here, one of the options was to create a presentation. You also, within here, where it says for you, it's recommending these documents for me, that I might want one of those. You can also keep scrolling, and it recommends more than you can actually see there. So trifold brochures. You can even create video and edit it in here. But also newsletters and whiteboards and flyers and all kinds of stuff. You can drill down yourself. So if we're going to look at a presentation. What type of presentation? Good night, Dickon. We hope to see you soon. It's been far too long. Good to chat, and I will send you that email. Okay, so it then drills down even more with what type of presentation. Now, you may have in mind a particular project for this presentation. You know who it's to be presented to, you know what the content is, and so forth. It could be that kind of situation. Alternatively, it could be a situation where you're looking for inspiration entirely and you don't know what it would really look like. This has got you covered either way. One, it will recommend presentations as a generic, this is presentations. And the other thing it can do is you can actually search for it. So just like we've done in all of the other options, you can do a search. Right, give me 1 second while I try and work out what's happening here. Things that should be happening are not happening. It's either crashed. Oh, it hasn't crashed. Marvellous. Right, I need to push some buttons on another screen to make this work. Right, can you just make sure, Mike, when that appears, that the usual frame I should be seeing is in shot? Right, okay. I will sort that and then I can carry on and forget about it, which is jolly good. This is how I'm in 2 places at once. I'm amazing, I know. Right, so if I want to just look at the presentations, there is a presentation. I can see that, and it's playing that video, picture in picture down here, giving me a preview of it. But if it's a talking presentation that I want, mobile first presentation, what kind of presentation do you want? That's one option. Your other option is to say, well, maybe it's a sales presentation. And I just look up sales presentation and it's going to give me a whole range to choose from, just like the Instagram thing. But these are not one slide. These are entire presentations for you to mix and match. So if you can find one that's got maybe the content that you want. So for instance, this one says a 5-phase social media strategy. And you can see as I'm hovering over it, it will quickly whip through all 25 slides. And you can see, is that something that you're kind of looking for? Is that the kind of presentation that you need? In terms of either the look of it or the content of it, because you can change everything about it. You can change the content and you can change the look of it. You'll see that this one here is also the 5 phases of media, social media, as is social media marketing trends. So you're basically at this point looking for the one that inspires you to do something. So just have a look through them. What I might put on there instead of sales presentation is, what if I wanted to introduce a podcast to people? This will be good, won't it? I've got presentation, but I'm not sure that is actually showing me all the presentations. Some are, some aren't. These look like they are. But I'm also looking at these and thinking some of these are 4:3 and some of them are 16:9 in orientation. So I might want to be thinking about that. I'd say let's go back to presentations. Let's see presentations and pick one and then have a look at what's in it and how to create it and how to edit it. So I think we'll take this snazzy thing up here. Where was the other one? Where's the other one gone? Social media trends. That's garish enough, isn't it? Oh, I don't like it. They're not PowerPoint presentations per se, Renee. I will show you when we get in. Shall we look at this yellow one, or is that just too much? What's this one like, this black one? Let's do that one. Let's go into that black one there. So what you get straight away is, it is a presentation. It's showing you what you've actually got down here. And you've also got this at the side. So at the moment in here, as you scroll, it will scroll you through all of the slides. You can then choose if you would like to add a slide to it. So maybe at this point, so at the very beginning, I'll have my table of contents or my agenda, and I'd like one of these next. And what happens is, as I'm selecting it, choosing over here overwrites it. So what I would do with that, let's say I don't need that. I don't want a performance report. I want this one. You can actually change the content of that slide entirely. Right, so in terms of what we're looking at in here, this is the template that we're looking at. Now, Renee wants to know straight away, are they PowerPoint? So let's go, and you've got a couple of options. One option is to present it, and you get a different type of presentation. Would you want to present it as a standard one, where I decide when we move, an autoplay one, or do I want to see the presenter's view? So the idea here is that you actually present in the browser, just as you would with Google Slides. That's the idea. Now, obviously, you may want to do something different with it. You may want, other than to present it, you might want to download it or actually make the presentation and record it and end up with a video that can be edited in Canva. We'll look at that down the line. You could share a link to it so somebody could view it, but you could also share it via a website or PowerPoint. You can create an embed, add it to your LinkedIn profile. There's a whole range of things you can do here. So if we say, let's do a PowerPoint thing, right? Download your design as a Microsoft PowerPoint document and download it. So we've got 25 slides that were in the template. We made one change by putting in the graphic, and it is now downloading it. I am not going to open this. Let me continue editing. I'm not going to open this in PowerPoint because PowerPoint is already running and Inception would happen. So what I'm going to do with it, it's in the downloads. So I'm looking at my download folder and I'm going to right click it and I'm going to open it with a good old Keynote. Oh no, it's sad, isn't it? The X. My X. Right, but there it is and it's going to open it and I will bring it on so you can see it. So it's telling you there's missing fonts in it. I'd need to address that. But other than that, exactly as it looked like in Canva is what it looks like when you download it. Everything is identical, including the images. So you can change those images here by dragging and dropping them, etc. But yes, you can do that. Sarah would like to open it in PowerPoint, but you haven't managed to work out how to do it. In what way do you want to open it in PowerPoint? All I've done with that is download it, and what it's actually downloaded, let me just put that on the desktop so we can see it. Desktop, there we go. That usually causes complete havoc. But if I move the browser out of the way, that's what it downloaded. It downloaded a PPTX file, and all I would need to do is actually open that with PowerPoint. So if you say open with, PowerPoint's the default for handling PowerPoint files. The only reason I've opened it in Keynote is I'm already running PowerPoint. Don't forget my 11 o'clock. My 11 o'clock is all taken care of, Simon. All taken care of. Doing 9 jobs at once. Okay. So it's that simple to create an actual presentation with that. Right. There is a whole lot more that we can investigate with... where's my craft gone? Craft's vanished now. There's a whole lot more that we can actually investigate with Canva, as you can imagine. What I'm thinking of now is time. How long's yours, Mike? I think we'll leave Canva there this week and I'll show you. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to show you because it's the freebie. Where's the freebies gone? All right, here are my freebies, this week's freebies, and I've got the Instagram posts. And I'm going to give you the link for this in the freebies, but I could not do this because if I did it, then I couldn't show you doing it. So what I'm going to show you is when I downloaded these freebies that I will give you the link for, all that was inside it was a PDF file. And then it said, get the templates. So I need to click the get the templates and see what happens. But the first thing it wants you to do is to log into your Canva account and then get the templates. Right, and then you've got the template was created, it's shared with you, start designing. So I can say use template. And my free stuff has downloaded and there is my templates. So it's downloaded the entire thing in one file. We checked last week, you have multiple pages in the file. So all of these are for Instagram. And these are all the free templates that were included. So there is even a launcher podcast one for me. And that is then available within your templates because it's uploaded it to Canva and it's in your area, it's your content. So hold on to that thought while I head into here. This is what I was talking about. It's a starter pack with 30 templates, all Instagram sized, but they can be rescaled if you need them. The whole thing. So this one is free this week. There's 30 designs, 68 photos and 5 fonts, all organised. And as you can see, it's so easy to edit the Canva stuff. So easy to edit it. So that is what the freebie includes. You've just seen me install it. That's where you need to go. Mike will copy and paste the link in.
It's in there.
It's in there. Excellent. Sarah, you're a scream. Can't believe I've been using this over a year. We'll take it very gently and do it little by little each week. But do you know what? This is the third week, and I know that every week you said, oh, wow. Oh, wow. So go get those while they're free, and that will give you something else to play with and also change them to suit your branding. Right, it's unicorn time.
Actually, it's not unicorn.
Oh, no, I put a unicorn on it, Mike.
No.
Oh, you teased.
Yes.
Mike teased you. Naughty
It's
Mike.
jab time.
Oh. No, I'm not putting that one on. It scares me. No, that's got blood dripping from it. Well, you could do a jab with a unicorn. It's got the magic horn.
That is very true.
That would work. Nothing wrong with that.
That's very true.
Let's head over to Mike and his non-unicorn unicorn event.
Mike needs to press record first.
He teased me then. He teased me.
No, it was unicorns last week. And that was it was going to be this one last week, but then somebody mentioned unicorns, and I went off track.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Right, they can see your screen, Mike.
Right. Okay. We're back to COVID and vaccinations again.
Peter's distraught.
Why is Peter distraught? Unicorns.
In capitals, there's no unicorn.
No. Okay.
There will be. Let there be unicorns next week.
Tell you what. I'll do insert icons, and I will search for unicorn.
I hope there is someone. There's going to be tears
and it's
here.
brought up two dolphins. Probably because it's got a horn. Well, it has on this picture. Okay, choose the unicorn, click on insert. There's my unicorn. Let's make it bigger. Let's change it to be pink. There we go. Let's flip it around. Okay, and the unicorn is going to get its injection for COVID.
Oh, the poor unicorn.
There we go. Okay.
A unicorn's okay with the AZ one?
I
refuse to comment.
I refuse to comment, yeah. Okay, so...
Oh, good God, it's turned into an episode of Line of Duty. No comment with a bit of a growl.
Jesus, Mary, Joseph and the wee unicorn. That's all I'm going to say. Right,
He's never seen an episode of Line of Duty in his life. But the only part he's ever seen was the wee donkey quote.
Yeah. Well, it's all over Facebook.
No spoilers. There must never be any spoilers.
Right, okay. Back to this stuff. I'm going to do a waffle chart. I did a waffle chart last week where I actually filled the squares up with unicorns. But now I'm just going to fill the squares up with colours. So what this is doing is this is showing you how many people, in percentage terms, how many people have had both jabs, how many people have had one jab. That should not say both vaccinations in the middle one. It should say single vaccination. That one there. And how many people have not been vaccinated at all. So what I'm going to do, rather than totally starting from scratch, I've got a partly completed one. I actually think a waffle chart is pretty good. It shows a percentage of the whole as a square. Somebody once called this squaring the pie, which I like that. It's a nice phrase. It's basically taking the concept of a pie chart and displaying it in squares. So what I've done, rather than wasting time typing up all the text and stuff, I've created a blank sheet. I've typed in a heading, UK vaccination programme. I've typed up my data here. And what I'm going to do now is produce a waffle chart. So I'm going to go to E3 as my starting point. And what I actually want is I want the numbers 1 to 100 in a block of 10 rows and 10 columns. So basically 10 rows and 10 columns with the numbers 1 to 100. Now I could do that manually, obviously, sit and type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. Or I could do a formula. It's actually not as simple as just doing 1 and 2, auto-filling all the way up to 10, and then copying down, because you're going to just get a copy of that. You could do 11 and 12 and then auto-fill that, and so on. But you know, you'd be there for a while. So if you've got the latest version of Office, if you're Office 365 and you've got one of the latest versions, then you can use the sequence function. So equals sequence, and I want this to be 10 rows and 10 columns. And if I don't specify a start number, it will start at 1. If I don't specify a step, it will step up in ones. So I'll just do equal sequence 10, 10, and that gives me my 1 to 100. That does say 100. It's just that the column, I've already narrowed the columns down. I could widen the column just to show you, but I actually want the columns to be fairly narrow. So I'm going to keep the column. I've already made the column widths narrow. I've made them 50 pixels. Again, just to save a bit of time. You can have it whatever width you want, but I think 50 pixels for a waffle chart is a pretty good value. Okay, then I need to select all of those cells, and I'm going to use conditional formatting to fill in only certain cells. So for this one, I will go to conditional formatting and then create a new rule. And the rule is going to be a rule that formats the cells depending on what the cell contains. And the cell value needs to be less than or equal to, and I could specify a static value there, so I could specify 66, but it's actually 66%. But that could change. It might not be 66% as more people get both vaccinations. So I'm going to do a formula that basically says pick up what's in C3 and multiply it by 100. The reason I want to multiply it by 100 is because actually what's in C3 is 0.66. It's just been formatted to display as a percentage. And if that is true, if the value in the cell is less than or equal to whatever is in that cell times 100, I want to display that with a green background. So I will go to the fill, choose a green background, click on OK, and click OK again. And what we now get is anything that is less than 66% or 66% or less is now displayed with a green background. If I go and change that number in there, instead of 33 million, I change it to 40 million. Okay, and change the single vaccination. Let's take that down to, let's say 0. Okay, now what that is doing, so that's showing that nobody has just had a single vaccination. In other words, out of 50 million people, 40 million have had both vaccinations, 10 million have not been vaccinated. So there's nobody who's only just had a single shot. So that's, you can see that's now gone up to 80. Now, there's a couple of things that I need to do. I'm just going to undo that. Take it back to 66. A couple of things I need to do. First of all, I actually want to hide the numbers. We don't want to see those numbers. But the other thing is, if you go and look at the waffle charts that I'd already created, the coloured blocks are starting from the bottom, not starting from the top. Now, I guess it doesn't really matter which way round it is, but a traditional waffle chart does start from the bottom. If you go and Google waffle charts, they do tend to start from the bottom. So what I'll do is all I'll do is tell it to start with 100 and go down. So go back to doing equal sequence, basically recreate the formulas. I still want it 10 rows and 10 columns, but I want to start at 100 and step in -1, so go down. And again, there's the number 100, widen the column and you'll see it's there. So we are now going down from 100 in steps of 1. And if I do want to hide the numbers, I've done this before, It's just going to be not a conditional format, just a normal format. I've shown you this before. So select the cells and go to general format, more number formats, custom, and type in 3 semicolons. And there is our waffle chart, although there's one other thing that I want to do, and that is to apply a border. So I'm just going to apply a border around all of the cells. And there we go. Now, one last thing I'll do is I will put the 66% inside the waffle chart. And I'll do that by inserting a text box. Draw the text box over there. I can always resize it. Into that text box, I want a formula which picks up whatever's in that cell there, C3. And then I want to center it and make the text bigger. Remove the borders by going to Shape Format, Shape Outline, No Outline, and also remove the background by going to Shape Outline, Shape Fill, No Fill. And I think I'll have it white text. I think it'll stand out better on the green background. So let's make that white text. And there we go. And that will of course change as those change. I think I'll make it a little bit bigger as well. Something like that. All right. So the last thing to do is to cut and paste the unicorn, and let's stick the unicorn in there as well. So that is showing us what percentage of unicorns have had both COVID vaccinations. All right, and that is it from me. Obviously, if you wanted then to get the others, it's just a rinse and repeat, just with the different figures. So, do we have any questions?
Possibly only about unicorns.
Only about unicorns. Okay, right. Okay. I will pass back to you.
Oh, the weekly scrap with this. Right, iMac screen. Over we toddle. Yes, we're back to the macOS Finder. This is pretty fun this week, hasn't it? Oh, indeed it did. But we beat it into submission. So, very exciting this. I'd say you couldn't really do this out the box, not with some incantations. But what we're going to look at this week in terms of the macOS Finder is, as the name would imply, why you're not moving, finding files, which is possibly more difficult than it should be. But I will give you all the tips and tricks on it. Right, let's go have a look at it. Right, I have some files there. These are the live sessions. So if you look at this, this is real data. This is alive and it needs to work. All right. It's in my Dropbox. It's in my areas because my Dropbox is parrot, obviously. 2 within an inch of its life. In fact, did you notice a folder's missing? Beat it into submission finally. The Elaine folder. Not my folder. Shared with me by my dentist. Shared read only. Couldn't move it. Now I can move it. Thank the Lord. Right, so in my areas of focus, stuff I do, I have content creation, and in there I have the live sessions. And these folders are where everything to do with that live session, that's where it will be. At the moment, we're looking at the posters. So each of these, let's look at Bridge first and go down. And there's Bridge. So these are all the posters that I have. They are all identical. They're just different sizes for use in different locations. Don't ask me where all these locations are because I can't remember, and I don't think we need half of them. But it's easier to create them all at the single point of creating the first one than it is to go back later and regenerate them. So I make them all, never mind. And that folder is inside the Adobe Bridge folder. And if we look at all of the others, so pro tip here, Command and A, I want to see what's inside all of them. Option key, right arrow. And what that will do is open up all of these. So you can see that the majority of them are in a posters folder inside the event folder. Looking at the top one here, this one in the newsletter one is not. So what I would do with that is Command, Control and N, and that will create a new folder with all of the items that I had selected. And that one would be called posters. So you can see we have a folder structure here. Let's take them all and fold them up again. Come on, you can do it. Oh, never mind. Let's just go through them. Right. So my problem is when I'm writing blog posts, I need a particular size of image, and it's this one. It is 795 by 500 and it's a PNG. What to do? Do I take this image out of here and put it on the desktop while I'm working with it and then go back and file it again? No, madness won't lies that way. Do I take a copy of it? Well, that's a way of working. Why would I be doing that at all? And the answer to that is the way that Ulysses works. Which is, so let's get Ulysses on here. Right. In here, I also have a para setup, which means I know exactly where things need to be in here. So if I wanted to use these posters, they'd be in the live sessions, and here are the live sessions. So I would click on here, and this is where the poster needs to be. Every one of these needs a poster over there. So if I put them on the desktop, if I found all of the right sizes and I put them on the desktop, I could delete them when I finished because they would be inside Ulysses and they would be published from there. But I need these posters on a constant basis because the next thing I'll need is this one to go in the email and this one to go everywhere else and this one for the presentations. And this structure is great. If I could spell posters, it would be even better. It's great. I know exactly where they are, but it gets old fast. Seriously, trying to go and locate them and find them. It drives me mad. So, wouldn't it be nice if I could just say, do you know what? I need to see the ones for the email and just those. And that is what a saved search will do for you. This is not an application. This is within the Finder. Everybody has this on a Mac. I have saved some searches and I can do just that. So if I'm looking for the one for the emails, that would be this one. And I open it and it shows me all of them and it filters out anything that's not that size. So they're all 600 by 337. And that's all I'm looking at. Oh, that's fantastic. But we're racing ahead of ourselves. That's where we want to be. How do we get there? Well, first of all, you need to understand how the search works. So on a Mac, you have the ability within the Finder to search for something. So if I were to go in there and put blend modes, it would find me, let's do blend modes, it's actually searching within this. So to be honest, I'm probably better going back to Dropbox and going into my content creation areas and searching in here. So let's do blend modes. And that will show me every poster that has the word blend modes in it. You'll notice how I've spelt that. It's not case sensitive, but I have put a dash in it so it can understand it. And it finds just what I need. So to do what I wanted, which was let's get all of the posters for the emails, what's the commonality between them? And it's not the name. It is the fact that because this comes from an export persona configuration, they are predictably named. And predictably named to the point that at the end I would have underscore 0600. That isn't enough because if you look at that, I've got square images that are 600 by 600. But I will put in there 337 and that will filter it down even more. Is that enough? Well, yes and no. I also have PNG versions and JPEGs. And I can't really do much more with that. I filtered the name. What I would probably do at that point, you could sort by kind, and that would put the JPEGs and the PNGs separate. But that is the essence of a search. That's a simple search. I've filtered it down as far as it can go. But you do have the option to add a criteria. So initially I've filtered by the name at the top, and it actually offers me kind next, but there are other things that you could filter by, but kind is perfect. And I don't particularly in there, kind would work if you filtered for images, but that won't help in this circumstance because they're both image types. But you'll notice that there was an option for other, and there is a huge range of fields that you can use. So what I'm thinking is, what about the extension? Could I use the extension? And the file extension is one of them. So what I would do with that is say, yeah, I want to search by the file extension, where the file extension is, and I would want it to be PNG. And that filters out the JPEGs. Perfect. I want to do this all the time though, literally all the time. So the best way to handle that is to save this search, and you have the ability to save it. Right, I'm going to save it. It's telling me where it's actually looking. So searching content creation. But this would be email sized images, or images for email, however you want to word it. By default, it saves them in a saved searches folder that exists within your library folder. You don't have to have them there, but if you do, then they're all in the same place. But there's no disadvantage to putting them somewhere else if you'd rather have them somewhere else. If you followed along with our Dev and Think series, you may be familiar with this. This is exactly how Dev and Think worked with saved searches. I'm going to put this in that library folder with my 3 live session posters. It won't overwrite any of those because I've given it a different name. So I'm just going to put it in the standard location. But the most important thing to think about here is the option at the bottom that looks so innocuous. Add to sidebar. And it's talking about adding this particular saved search to the sidebar on its own. Now I've got in my sidebar the saved searches folder. I have a shortcut to the folder, but that's just while I'm demonstrating this. Actually, I would probably leave that there. But you have an option to add that search to the sidebar or leave it alone. I'm going to show you, if I leave it set to add to the sidebar, what happens. And what happens here is it's this option there that we're interested in. And as soon as I click on it, it filters out all of the other images and leaves me with exactly what I want, which is fantastic. It's that simple to create them. Would that it remained that simple. Right. If the more you use this, the more you get used to the fact of, oh, that's amazing what that can do, the more you're going to want to create saved searches. And the problem with that is that then dilutes the usefulness of having them all on the sidebar, because you don't want 57 on the sidebar. So at that point you can think, well, what do I do with them? And what I decided to do was this. I put a shortcut to the saved searches, and from there I can just double click on any one that I want and it will work from there. Do saved searches sync via iCloud to other devices? That depends on where you put them, Renee, because they're just a definition. You look in your saved searches here, these can be moved to wherever you want. So if you put them in a shared location, they would be shared. You'd have to think, of course, whether the definition you've created for the saved search made that logical or not. Now for me it does, because my Dropbox folder is the same on every machine, and this is searching in Dropbox. So yes, I wouldn't leave them in my library folder at all. I'm leaving them there for the moment so I can show you the big gotcha, the huge gotcha, and then we can work around it. So I'm just leaving them in that folder at the moment, but no, I would put them I would put them in Dropbox. I know it's meta. I'm searching a Dropbox folder from a definition within Dropbox, but it would work. Okay, so that's where you're at by default. So we'll just do that once more with a different one. So I started off in my search But the first thing I need to do is navigate as far down as possible so we know what we're actually searching. So for me, all of these things are going to be in the live sessions folder, which is there. So I start from that point. And then I put in the main criteria, which is the next size that I want, which has an extension of _1280 by 720. So I put that in there. Right, that's the first criteria. Then I put in the next criteria, which wasn't where the name matches. No, it was in the other. And this time I want extension, file extension, and where the file extension is PNG. And that is perfect, at which point I can then save that. So this time, this would be standard poster size. So it's going to have a different name than all of the others, and I will add it to the sidebar. Okay, so it's as simple as that to create it. And all you need to do, you could think of it as a saved search, or you could also think of it as a smart folder, where the content that you're looking at does not live in a physical folder like this. It's pulling this from multiple locations. And this will automatically update as I create more and more and more posters down the line for the Sunday sessions. So it's working great. Right, this was the point that I decided, yeah, but I don't want all these on the sidebar. But just to show you, what if I wanted, instead of the PNGs, what if I wanted the JPEGs? Well, luckily, you can right-click on here, and you can say, show the search criteria, because by default, you don't see that. So I will show the search criteria, which in turn enables me to change that to JPEG. Yeah, and save it. So now that one has been updated and it's showing me the JPEGs, not the PNGs. Simples. Now, I don't particularly want these two on the sidebar though, because it's just going to overwhelm it. So I can literally just drag and drop them off. I am not deleting them. They are in my saved searches and they stay in my saved searches. So if I wanted the standard poster size, I would double click it and I am returned the standard size PNGs. So that's fantastic. The other one, if I go back to my saved searches in here, my email sized images, there we go. They're the right size, they're the wrong format. Not a problem, I hear you say, because we've just edited that. So what do we do next to edit that back to PNGs? We can't do it in here. This is the results of the search and not an editable version of the search. But we know that the definition is in here. It was these email sized images. So logic would say that we click on there and we're looking to edit it just like we could from the sidebar. But when you look at what's available in here, how do you get saved searches to appear? Okay, let me just show you that. Any folder that you go to, so in my library here, saved searches is there. If that's not there, all I need to do is grab saved searches and drag and drop it onto the sidebar. And now they're there. Right, so I need to edit this one to be PNGs, and I'm looking at what options I've got when I right click on it. Open it in a tab. Well, that's not what I want. Certainly don't want to delete it. Then we've got all of the kind of action items that you might want to do in compressing it and duplicating and aliases. No, none of those. Do you want to copy it? No. Do you want to import from an app? No. Use groups, sort by, show view options, or colour it? No. None of those. Just give me the edit option. What edit option would that be? Curiouser and curiouser. So Mike and I had a look at it and I said, there's got to be an edit option. There's got to be an edit option. This is like black magic. I thought, right, okay. I know that when it was in the sidebar, I could edit it. I'll add it back to the sidebar, I thought. So I grab it, and you know that I could move this. If I wanted this to be on my desktop, let's take the search and put it on the desktop. And now, there is my search. I can double click it from there, and it works. It's fabulous. I just need to get it in the sidebar. So once it's in the sidebar, it'll be fine. So it's in my saved searches, and I'm going to grab it and I'm going to put it in the sidebar. Or, oh no, I'm not. Can't get it back in the sidebar. Now at this stage, I didn't know whether getting in the sidebar would do any good anyway, but I just wanted it back in the sidebar. Yeah, can't do that. Doesn't like it. If you know the magic incantation, then you can get it back in the sidebar, which is critical to the next step. The magic incantation is Command, Control and T. And that will put whatever you have selected in the sidebar. So it's added it back to the sidebar at the bottom. To prove the point it works with anything, if we have that selected, let's go to the desktop so we can see it there. So I've got it in the desktop, I've got that file, and I would like that added to the sidebar. It's added to the sidebar. There it is. Awesome. And then take it out of the sidebar. So we've now got it back in the sidebar. Right. So here it is at the bottom. Now it's back in the sidebar. If I right click it, show search criteria is an option. It's the only way I can find to get to it. Who in the right minds designed this Apple? Who in the right minds? So to change that to PNG, I can do it here. I can then save it, but I don't want it in the sidebar. So then I just delete it from the sidebar. It's in my saved searches. And when I open that up, I've got PNGs. How ludicrous is that? There are no words for the level of stupidity that is. I don't know. I know they're trying to save people from making mistakes. But seriously? That's so convoluted. And, you know, today you know what it is. But I guarantee a week down the line, it'll be, what was that secret key combination that did that? And you'll forget. I would probably forget that. I had to look that up, but that's not something I ever do. So my compromise, which was to have this saved searches in here, was awesome, but you can't edit them. You need to move them to edit them. So let's just show you that once more. You find your saved search wherever it is. It doesn't matter where it is. So if we were to put that on the desktop, so here's our desktop. And we would like that in there. We make sure we've got it selected and we command Control and T. And that puts it in the sidebar. From the sidebar, you can show the search criteria. So we open up the search criteria and this is where you can change it. So if I would like in there only the Affinity Publisher ones. So if we look in here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7. Right. I want to limit it to that. So we'll do another add. And this time we've got where the name matches. Now does this mean it has to totally match? And yes, it does. So I'm going to just say contains. And what I want in here is Affinity Publisher. And it doesn't like that. I need to put the dash in probably. There we go. So now I've got 7, right? And I'm going to save that query. So now I can get rid of it out of the sidebar because I've already edited it and it lives on the desktop. It only has to be in the sidebar when you want to edit it. Sarah's written it in her sidebar notes. That really does need to be remembered. It's ridiculous, that. It is utterly ridiculous. Why you would not have that on the right click of any smart folder is totally beyond me. Particularly given that if it's something that you've got in Dropbox and you're just using it, if you forget, you've got another problem. And this was when I was researching this, people were screaming blue murder. One guy in particular had been waiting like 3 months for this. Approached Apple, hadn't heard anything back. Maybe they don't know how to do it either. Because he said, you know what, it would take me 2 minutes to recreate it, but I can't remember what the criteria was. You can't even see the criteria, can you? Unless you can edit it, you can't even see it. You could look at that and say, oh yeah, it's bringing back all the posters. No, it's not. It's bringing back all the posters that are 600 by 337 and that relate to Affinity Publisher. It's very nuanced, that. Very nuanced. So, pro tip. When you are creating these things, Sarah's done a good step here, written it in the sidebar notes. Excellent. Document everything. Literally everything. I document the whole thing. I do it in Rome, and I do it in a very particular way, which is a new system that I'm trying, but oh my word, is it working. What I would do with that, and I would have done this anyway, but I would certainly do it with this. Get it so it is in the sidebar, so we can see the criteria. Command, Control, and T. Right, do the right click thing, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing. And that makes it even worse. It's in the sidebar, and we know it's got to be in the sidebar to be able to edit it. Okay, I right click on it. I can't edit it. What's it doing now? There are no words for this. It's ridiculous. I can open it, I can show where it lives, I can get the info, rename it, remove it, or add it to the doc. I want to edit it. Remember, the edit option, it actually has to be active to do that. So at the moment, the desktop's active. That has to be active before a right click will enable you to show the search criteria. There's an Apple engineer somewhere that I need to get my hands around their throat. Right, once I'm in there with it, what I would do is make sure that I can see everything. So I've got some data that matches everything that's going on up here. And then you could choose to either hide the sidebar or leave the sidebar alone. But basically, something like that, and then take a screenshot of it. In my case, if I was working on it, I would use an app called Snappy App. Snappy App is fabulous. Absolutely love it. Snappy App. It is this one. Good grief, it's not been updated in 3 years. Oh, panic, panic, panic. It's just too good. And I've no idea how much this is. Can somebody tell me, because Mike's disappeared. Right, I find it works fantastically. The thing that it does, and there is another alternative. There is Snappy App, and there is Screen... I think it's Screen Float. Both do a similar job. I will show you what that job is. Oh, that was updated only 6 months ago. They both do a similar job. I just prefer Snappy because I know the shortcuts. Right, I've got Snappy App running. I would like to take a screenshot of that because I want to work with it. I want to know what it was originally, and now I want to make some edits. So if I take the screenshot, which looks exactly like taking it with the Mac, but I'm taking it with Snappy App, it opens up this. Don't they look similar? But they're not. This is the Finder window, and this is an image that floats above everything else. If you want to play with somebody's mind, take a screenshot like that of their Finder window. Close the Finder window and leave that there. And watch them for hours say, oh, I think the Finder's crashed. I can't select anything. No, that would be because it's an image. And on that image, you can start making notes. So if it's like, let's go for the red one. That's right. I need to point to that. You've got text on it. If you want to put a text note on it. So check the size or something like that. Check size. And that's how I go about documenting things as I'm working with it. When I've finished, I am then incredibly diligent, and I go back and I make sure that I put those screenshots and any instructions like silly shortcuts and gotchas, like it's got to be active or it's not available. I put all of that in the note. This is going in Kim's Notion wiki after she's got it out of side notes. You see how it all pulls together? You see, it's like Line of Duty. It's one overarching story here. But that is a real bad gotcha as far as I'm concerned. But what you can do with those save searches is pretty cool. With this one, I just need to double click. Hang on, let's get back to V and double click, and it disappears. And it goes into my library, my Snappy App library. The other one with ScreenFloat does exactly the same job. I just prefer the other one. Okay, bit of an aside there to document the whole thing. You should be able to filter a filter. or filter a saved search. Right, I will show you when it works, and we will try together to work out when it doesn't work. So I filtered, we can see my criteria there, can't we? This one's filtered down for Affinity Publisher. So I am just going to save that, and that's the result that we're looking at now. So there's 7 there. But what if I wanted to narrow it down more? What if I'm 2 years into this and I've got 50 posters there, and I'm like, I can't find the one that I want. Oh, come on, I can't find it. So I'm looking for textiles. This is a saved search. We know that. It's in the sidebar, and we are in a saved search. We go up to the search there and put in, let's say, deep dive. I'm looking for all the deep dives. I can then filter that from the find box. It's not permanent. I am not regenerating, reconfiguring that search. It's a temporary thing. I was just looking for the deep dive data merge one. Right, let's go back to what we've actually got in here. So we have, I'm making sure what we have in here. We have master pages, tables. Let's try another one. We have mastering in 2 of them. We have mastering there and we have mastering there. So if I go up here and I put mastering in, I get 2 back. That's exactly what you would expect. Would that this worked all the time? I would say it works 99% of the time. But don't rely on it if you think, you know, I could swear there were 3. Then go and have a look. Because I came across an issue which I don't think... I've got one. I've got that one. Mastering textiles. I don't see any others. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down to here into the save searches, and we will go into this one. And we have create creative tables. Oh, I know why it's not there. Right, what I'll do is I will duplicate that. That might actually work. All I'm saying is be very careful, because I came across a situation where I had 2 posters with the word tables in them, and one came back and one didn't. But that's the only time I found it not working. And we had it upside down, didn't we, Mike? Mike was saying, are you sure there isn't an odd character in? Is it a capital I, not an L? We had the whole thing, and we couldn't work out what was wrong with it. But every other time I've done it, it's worked. Although, having said that, let's try that mastering again. Mastering. No, it's right. We've got 3. No, it's working today, but I can assure you it wasn't working previously. And I was very careful with that, because I think that that is a really bad implementation of the entire system. To have to remember that the saved searches, which save such a lot of time, to edit them, you've got to add them back to the sidebar and then edit them, and then make them active, then edit them, and then take them back to where they were. That's really, Apple? Yes, really is the answer. CleanShot X in setup looks good for screen snippets. Yes, but the reason that those 2 applications are different is that the capture that you make sits on top of every other window. There are lots of applications on Windows that let you do that with any window. The Mac, less so. There are very few applications that sit on the top. Inner is one of them, playing videos, and the ITV is one of the others. But there are very few that actually let you have something sit on top. So let me do that again, and you can see what I mean by that. Right, so I've got that. I want to take a screenshot of it. It pops up. Beauty of that is I can increase the size, reduce the size. I can draw on it. But it sits on top of all the other windows. So if we have a new one, and a new one, and a new one, all of these are behind that screen grab that you took. That's the beauty of the application. This is why we have 19 screenshotting apps, because each one does something nuancedly different that makes it critical. So that was finding files in the Finder and making saved searches. Hopefully that was new to some of you. Snappy is free. I think I paid for it, but I think now there's not been an update in a while. They've maybe made it free, which is cool. It's a very, very good app. I do not want to think about the day when it stops working again. Let's put it like that. Do not want that. So, any questions on that? Put them in there. Do you know, I'm loving this with Debbie. I wrote it down. We'll add it to side notes when we get back on the computer. Ooh, that's an interesting thought, isn't it? What app have you got that you could float over and add it to that and then it automatically appear? Or have drafts open side by side. I know we've not done drafts yet, but drafts is fabulous for working on an iPad and then going back to the computer. So drafts might be something we need to bring forward, isn't it? Add it to the list, Mike. Stick it on for today and then I will follow up on that. So any questions, stick it in there and I will head back into here. Right, what have we got coming up? Oh, loads. We're back, same time, same place next week. But even before then, we have another Sunday session. This one is working with images in Affinity Publisher. Oh, trust me, when I say there's a lot to know. So that one is on Sunday. Then the following week, we have Mastering Textiles in Affinity Publisher. So we are focusing everything on textiles. There are other types of styles there, but we're going to be looking solely at text styles. I've done that before the next one because we'll use the textiles in the next one, which is creating... No, we're going back that way. Creating and managing assets in Affinity Publisher. So this was talked about last week, I think. I was just checking the chat and it was last week. And you said yes to assets, so we'll do assets. And the beauty of that is even if you don't use Affinity Publisher, everything with assets is identical across all the applications. So if you know assets in Publisher, you will automatically know them in Designer and Photo. It's a 3-for-1, that. And the week after, we're doing a build with me. Building what? I've no idea. I'll be honest with you, no idea. But I will take suggestions. You wanted a build with me where it was a soup to nuts project. A full project, and that's what I'll do. Just haven't decided what. Can you search network drives? Yes, you can, Graham. I was actually searching the cloud, so yes, you can. Kim likes the name Snappy App. Used to actually be Snappy App, and then they dropped the app off the end, and it was just then Snappy. They did talk about monetising it in some kind of way, but not many people want to pay when there's so many free ones out there, which unfortunately meant, they pulled back the development, which I can totally understand. People should be paid for what they do. It's as simple as that. And I was happy to pay them, but other people less so. So there you go. What we did last week, deep dive data merge in Affinity Publisher, and you guys have already merged data, which I will be going to have a look at, is available on demand. Other things available on demand, well, pretty much everything. So go to youtube.com/Elaine Giles and everything will be there. We also have a dedicated playlist for MacBites After Hours. So once MacBites After Hours is finished, it goes unlisted and it goes in that playlist. And you can get to that with macbites.co.uk/After Hours playlist. Couldn't make it easier, could we? Then, of course, we are still going every single day. We are marooned at MacBites headquarters. How many years is it now? But we're doing quite nicely. Tonight was 418. Oh, do you think we'll make the dizzying heights of 500? Jonathan was working on 800, wasn't he? Talking of which, is the young gent asleep?
Yeah.
I think he could be. Ooh. Excellent. Right, you can find that at that feed where you can subscribe. Yes, I will catch up, then it'll happen at some point in my lifetime. And that's the QR code for it. Everything we do in relation to that all happens on MacBites FM. And we love you guys. If you have enjoyed yourself tonight or learnt anything, give us a like because it really does make a difference. In the meanwhile, we have my mailing list, which is elainegiles.com/VIP. That is where you will get the timed links and you will get first notification of all of the new sessions. And if you're interested in MacBites, there is macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail, where we have mails all to do with kayaks. Do you know nobody noticed that mail about the kayak? I thought somebody might have mentioned it. You might have done. And we're also in Slack as well, where we are carrying on the conversation. which is very interesting because that's now disappeared. I wonder what happened there. Never mind. I can fix that over here. Right, so let me get this up. There we go. And you can find us anywhere there. Do what Carol did last week, which was sent me a mail, and I've sorted that. And Dickon, who also sent me a mail, and I've sorted that as well. Right, is it me for the win? I think it is, isn't it? Right, so I'm going to get that and that. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Oh, young Jonathan. And you know, it was the shortest show tonight. One, because I've had another nosebleed in the middle of the show. Poor, don't know if you might notice that, but I did. And I've got a midnight. I also had an 11 o'clock, but I managed to be in two places at once. So there we go. It's 19 to 2. Good morning, Jonathan. He does catch up, you know. He totally catches up. He's so diligent. I'm impressed. I'm so impressed, Jonathan. Right, let me put that on there. And I'll catch up on the chat. Oh, everyone say good night. Good night to you all. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. If you think of anything you would like me to have a look at, let me know. Carol's off to investigate Workspaces. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it is useful for you. And I will reply to that mail and we will find a time to demo that. Oh, Graham, a slice of jam and cream sponge. I can't tell you how many years since I've had a cream sponge. We used to be able to get... I could have little bits of stuff from Bramley Farm when they were open, but I don't know when they're reopening. What's causing all the nosebleeds? I've no idea. Honestly, when did that start? Was it yesterday or this morning? This morning's was quite amazing. But yeah, it's just started again. So it could be that it's warm. I don't know. Maybe I need a rest. Yes, that's a cake, Kim. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Good night. Love spending my Friday nights with you. Oh, we love spending our Friday nights with you guys. Absolutely we do. So, we're going to head off. Are we going to have something to eat?
Yeah.
Yay! Oh, good, because I'm a bit hungry. Maybe that's it. I'm hungry. So, I will say good night from me.
And good night from me.
And we will both see you next time. In the meanwhile, stay safe, guys.